So yeah, it occurred to me that when everything happened with Stardust and Chaeiry and Mrgirl, that they were going to talk to a lot of people, and I reached out to both of them to talk to them because I've talked to both of them before. Me and Stardust was kind of weird because I got her the day after their first conversation that made things weird, and so my conversation with Stardust was really fucking weird. But Chaeiry and I, like, after my first time talking to her, she invited me to come talk to her again, and I did, and we had a lot of fun. It was really good. Both times were really nice, and they were both, like, Stardust just sent me a link to her Twitter thread, and I was kind of, I was like, well, I didn't just want to talk specifically about the thing that you said there. I wanted to talk to her about, like, their whole, like, relationship dynamic, like, changing in, like, the first conversation, all that stuff. And then Chaeiry was just, like, kind of rude to me, and it was weird. She said that, I said, I didn't watch it yet, I just see everything's being said. If you want to talk to me about it, I plan to, like, watch it and then immediately talk to you, so that way I don't have, like, a bunch of decisions already made up in my head about what happened. It just felt like the most appropriate way to approach it. And she's like, you need to watch it. Like, I don't know why you're asking me this. She's like, I'm not talking to any Mrgirl fans about this anymore. And then it was just like uncharacteristically rude to me. And I know you have a lot of feelings about her.
Uncharacteristic? I don't know how uncharacteristic it is.
Between her and I, it was pretty uncharacteristic. I was like one of the I think I was like one of the first 10 people that got invited to her Discord. We have we have a good rapport for the times that her and I talked. It's been like very positive. And then I watched them talk, and that's kind of when it hit me that I will never know what either of them think about what happened. In Stardust thread too, she said, nobody asked me why this is a big deal to me. And I was like, I would have absolutely asked you why this was a big deal to you. And I wasn't going to try to defend any side. It drives me crazy because I consider myself to be kind of like the lore keeper of Mrgirl. I've talked to basically fucking everybody. In his own words, everybody he's ever talked to in his entire life, I've spoken to about him. And that's just gonna be gone. We never gonna know exactly what they thought or how they felt about what happened, because everybody has put a gun to their head demanding answers. And like, when you're asking somebody to be vulnerable on stream, that's already very hard to do, because I feel like you can only give so much of yourself when you're on stream and there's people listening to you, watching you. And then when you're like grilling them and like I said, there's like a gun to your head the whole time, you're gonna make mistakes in what you say, and then you might not feel like you can correct them, all that shit. And so like when I watch all the stuff that happens with you, I think like the same thing. If you change anything that you've said in the conversation, like nobody asks you why, they just sort of grill you for doing it, and I think that's weird. There's like no allowance for the situation that you're in to be what it is. It's just sort of like you have to just be okay with everything, and there's no explanation for anything other than just like you're lying or you're full of shit. But it's just really weird to me.
Retarded child. Yeah.
And I talked to some people I think that we both know today, and they said some negative things about you, and were like, well, like keeping this. Well, Will's
Will and channel.
Yeah, and I know you know how Will feels about you. There's no way you don't.
It's crazy that I only recently, only in the past couple days have me and Will, I guess, been on the outs. I considered him
he didn't
an
say
ally.
Like, I hate her or anything like that, but it was like
He
I
said,
got warnings.
But I don't know what I've done to him to make him pivot this way. I don't know. It all seemed very extreme. I saw the things that he was tweeting in response to you interviewing me, and I don't know what I did. I think he got really mad at me when I started going on Steven's stream, because I think he was outwardly and admittedly jealous that I have kickstarted this, and he thinks, possibly because because I'm a woman. And I understand how that can be frustrating, because we came from the same place, also Mrgirl's little community, and then all of a sudden now I'm an orbiter, and Will's like, even though he puts more effort into his content and has better content than I do, is not as well known, I guess. I don't know if he'd love to be in my shoes, though, to be honest. But
that's fair.
But I think, I think that's most of the beef, because otherwise I don't think that we've ever had a fault. Like we never had a falling out. We never even, I don't think, had like a hard conversation. So it's a little weird. But who else did you talk to?
Well, the Extreme Dad was there, and he seemed to more viscerally have a bad opinion of you. But I was kind of yeah. But I was kind of like, hey, look, just earlier today.
What? Is he mad that my fiance won't give him the wallet?
He's mad that, and it's funny too. I kind of like more or less stood up for you in it. He said that you were going to put in a good word with Destiny for him, and I said, well, how do you know that she didn't? Did she tell you she didn't? And he was like, yeah, well, like I know she didn't. And I was just like, what the? How are you gauging this? Maybe he just doesn't give a shit. Maybe she didn't. He was like, yeah, fuck that guy. I don't care. You don't know this. But anyways, I'm not even trying to start anything here.
A good word. I never said that.
He told me that you said if he wrote something and gave it to you, then you would. I don't know. This is just what I was told today. But my whole point was that I was kind of like saying, like, look, I am 100% reserving my opinion of her until after I talk to her, because like I told you, every time I've seen you, it has been probably the most egregious example of people putting a gun to somebody's head in these conversations. It has been intense. I don't know how well I would be able to operate like that, and I think I'm pretty good at talking to people. I think I'm pretty good at navigating difficult conversations. Before I streamed, I used to just like go into like the worst discords and just debate people for fun, because I'm fucking boring, and that's what I do. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, I think that I would have a very hard time, like, even keeping myself together emotionally. I'd just be like, hey, can you guys stop being fucking assholes for like 5 minutes? If you're gonna ask me a question, can you let me answer it? And can you not fucking yell at me if you don't like my answer? You just tell me why you don't like it. You can tell me why you think I'm wrong, but like, fucking chill. And there's very, very much a lack of empathy. And for a while I was wondering, like, why does Mrgirl always play like lawyer? I think he's just there as like for lack of a better way to put it, like a shield. Like maybe he thinks that people will fucking just like take a fucking breath if he's there, because then they'll have to hear him talk more than you, which a lot of times can get pretty convoluted, which I love. If they don't like, they can either fucking like act fucking normal, or they can get 5 minutes of meta commentary, which everybody but me fucking hates.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder. I think that the reason why people are so uncharitable to me is because I have this like smug character that I used to do. I haven't done it in the past couple weeks because it got me into so much trouble in the beginning. But I came into the realm with like this smug character because I think it's funny, and I think that it was hard to parse like who I really was and who this character was. So hopefully with time, people will start to just like see more content with me in it and realize that I'm not that person. But I think if optically, if I'm looking at the way that I acted, I probably it seems like, yeah, I was just smug, and people wanna dunk on the smug person, obviously.
That's fair. I think if I'm talking to somebody and things are a little bit contentious and they're being smug, that probably would irritate me a bit.
Yeah.
There's like an air of superiority around it. So you said that people don't really know who you're. Then who's Lav? Like, what? Why did you start streaming? And like, what are you trying to do? And like, how are you actually? If that's not too many questions in a row.
Oh, it's one too many. I'll answer some of them though.
Okay.
Who am I? I'm just a gal. I'm a sex worker. I guess I was an ex-sex worker for some time, but I'm a sex worker again. And I'm really interested in politics. I'm really interested in topics like feminism, philosophy, gender, abolition mostly. I'm really, interested in like meta conversations about race and, conversations about therapy, conversations about spirituality. Stuff like that. That's my bubble, as Brittany would say. What I want to do with my platform is have tough conversations, humanize each other. I do a lot of stuff where like I'll go on Cozy TV I'll talk to people like Big Tech, who we know Big Tech. He's in Alinity moment. Sorry, I abuse my cat every stream. I have to. But Big Tech. He's in the Mrgirl lore.
I know. I don't like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's a character. I like him. I humanize him. Yeah, we have tough conversations. Yeah, just I like to bridge gaps. I like to see how people feel. I like to. This is what. Well, I guess Steven said that it's mind raping. And maybe I like to mind rape, but I like to analyze people and see, who they are really. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's mostly what my content is. And also, I just like to hang out, listen to music. A lot of the content I do, like a lot of my streams, are just watching like music videos because I'm an artist. So a lot of stuff will, be music involving music or art or something like that. And yeah, and then how am I doing was the last question. I'm doing well.
Good.
I think. Yeah, I think it's been a hard week, definitely. But I see light at the end of the tunnel. I'm trying to keep my hopes up. I have faith that once people understand me a little more, they won't be so intent on dehumanizing me, hopefully. Hopefully I can prove that I'm useful in the space.
Well, I think part of it's gotta be because, because you're a woman. And, let me just preface by saying there's a lot of fucking incels in the communities which you have, a natural audience in. So, you're a woman and you not just do sex work, but you admittedly do it. So you're going to have people that are just going to be fucking furious that you exist.
Yeah.
That's basically inevitable. I mean, to be fair, it's not like you're you're not doing hot tub streams. It's just the number one incel fucking fury point. But yeah, you do OnlyFans, right? And then you stop for a little bit and then you do again.
Patreon. Yeah, now I do Patreon.
Is
different
Patreon
content.
Like a placeholder? Okay.
It's different content. So on OnlyFans, this is what a lot of people cannot understand. So I'm very anti-sex work, for the most part, generally, in big picture. I'm very anti-sex work.
Okay.
I think there are some ways that we can reduce harm and increase benefit, and ways that we can move sex work that make it less harmful. And so one of the things that I did was move on to Patreon, which was big, because obviously I'm losing a fuck ton of money because most people are on OnlyFans.
Sure.
But Patreon doesn't allow, I think, masturbation or sex, which I feel comfortable in. And also, it's a whole, I'm going to do sex toy reviews, how to shave, how to do certain things, how to, talks about consent, stuff like that maybe the average person wouldn't want to maybe there's not much of a market. But maybe there is. So I'm putting my feelers out there to see if there's a way that I can positively engage with sex work. Because I'm not ready to completely write it off, and I also think I can make it work for me, and also I love money. And I don't mind being naked, so whatever. That's my stance on it. But yeah, people are very mad that I apparently flip-flopped because they wanted me to be this anti-thought, anti-prostitute, political placeholder, and then we're so upset when I was maybe I went too hard, and there is a way that this can exist. I think I disappointed a lot of people when I wasn't the anti-hero that they thought I was going to be.
Yeah, well, do you think that it sounds to me that you're saying also that you enjoy that space? Because if you leave OnlyFans and you're going back and you still want to be a part of it and you want to make it better, that would seem to imply to me that you there's a part of you that wants to see it get better because you care about it and it's something that you enjoy, or that you have it's not a clean break away from it, obviously. Yeah. If you're still doing it, so it must be important to you. Is that correct?
I think sex positivity is really important to me. Yeah. So I think that there's a lot of good things that happen in sex work, like sex positivity or at least sex neutrality. And sex education is extremely important to me. So also just, it's sort of the gun argument, at least like the gun rights argument. Like if there's going to be bad people with guns, then good people should have guns too. So if there's going to be people who make porn that is like, completely like violent against women and 18-year-olds who are like, use me, then there has to be a space for someone like me who can also use sex work as like, and something educational or potentially just something more healthy, masturbatory material.
Sure. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I have pretty strong opinions about sex work and all that. Maybe some other time we can trade ideas on that. I think we'd get too far off track if we did that today. But like, you're super busy, but maybe sometime. I know. It's funny. You talked to Will about sex work one time, and him and I like really softball kind of debated him on my feelings about it versus his, and like so we were like. I thought we had a better understanding or like agreements than we did, and then he talked to you and somebody else. It was either I think DK maybe, and he went like so hard and so aggressive with like I was like, oh my
PBLC.
God. Okay, yeah, PBLC, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think. That's definitely what I was thinking of. And I was like, oh my God. Maybe him and I didn't agree as much.
Yeah, it was very odd because I agreed with Will at first, and then I saw that he took such a hard stance on it that I was like, I don't know, actually. And then I moved, and then But I don't know. Will just seems to, I think Will's coming from like a more traditional, like, red pill place, which is strange. But I don't know. He was also, like, denigrating, like, sex workers more than, like, talking about sex work, which was odd.
I just caught the first little bit. It was just the energy shift that caught me off guard. People get really passionate about the subject.
Totally.
Is kind of where I was going with that, and it's very interesting. I think it's cool that you want to do that kind of thing. I don't think I know of anybody who's like shooting for that like they couldn't do on YouTube. So that's pretty interesting to me. I hope you find success with that because I think that we could. Probably use I don't think there's anything wrong with the other stuff. Then I think that maybe you and I disagree with, but I think that what you're talking about is absolutely a positive thing, and that like it seems like there's a big open market for that because there's got to be like when it comes to anything involving sex, there's a market for anything that's not being done. So
totally.
I think that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely gonna garner you like your communities are like as far as I know, like you have a lot of overlap with like Mrgirl and DGG, and I know a lot of DGG Mrgirl's community is DG, but it's not all. He says it a lot. I mean, in terms of like the things he's talking about, I think it's fair to just say that they are, but there's a pretty big chunk of people that are there that are just there for him, and I would assume that you're now getting to the point where you're just having people that just found you for you. But it's probably a lot of it's coming from those two areas, yeah.
Like I've been on a couple of like John Zerka Royale podcasts, so some of it's from there also, which is fun.
It's funny. He where he's from is like right down the road. He's like the next town over from me.
Funny.
Yeah, I always wonder, like, I wonder if, because I used to, like, work in the city that he's from. I was like, it'd be so weird if I just, like, bumped into him. Especially since, like, I don't know. I just feel like he'd, I always imagine him just being aggressive in public, too. But it's probably not how it is.
No, I doubt it. I think he's probably a sweetie. He's probably very, like, just passive and normal. He's probably a beta male in person.
I look forward to him saying something to you about that because I think he'd just explode. Okay, so like what got you? I wanted to say too. I first heard of you from when you called in on the hotline, and I had this incorrect idea that that was like your first time like really talking to anybody online at all. And then I just was recently informed that I guess like somebody told me on Saturday, because I was supposed to be on the hotline, I was next, and I wanted to talk to you and Mrgirl, It would have been cool, but I got told by one of the mods when I did my screening, which is they just do it because they have to. Like, we know each other, we're good. He told me that he said that you know Destiny like IRL is what he said. Is that true?
Me and Steven were friendly. Like a year ago, I came across one of his streams on YouTube. It got recommended to me. I think it was one of the Anna streams, funny enough. And then I went through all of his content, or not all of it, but a lot of it, and I was like, oh, I really like this. And I'm someone who already had a presence online, so maybe have to build the connection because I wanted to go into politics or have something more meaningful, or just because I liked him, I reached out and I was like, hey, I really like what you're saying. And then, maybe it's because I had the blue check mark. Maybe it's because I was hot. He answered. And we just had a fun little friendship. And then we didn't talk too often. And then after the Mrgirl thing, I was like, because I knew of Mrgirl through watching Steven.
Okay.
After I got on the hotline, I was like, oh, I'm going to talk to Steven about this. And I guess I'll do it on stream. Might as well. That'll be fun. And then immediately I was like, okay, I kind of like this. Let's do it.
That makes sense.
So, yeah.
Okay, so I guess it was a combination of both of them that kind of had you end up streaming. That makes sense.
Yeah, Steven was the one who said that I should ultimately. So he's responsible for all of my my misgivings.
I wonder how you would feel about that statement.
I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say you should tell him that. You should.
Yeah, all the DGG haters, just know that Steven is the reason I exist.
That's fantastic. Well, I would have to say to some degree, Mrgirl as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So when I first heard your call with him, I couldn't fucking figure out what your name was because I just heard Lav and I kept I kept mishearing. I'm hard of hearing already, and when I looked in chat, some people said lavender, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And the only point of reference I had was OnlyFans, and so I was just looking, just I wanted to see what you looked like, and I thought that you were this really tall black woman, for a week, and I was like, okay, that's who that is, and I was just like, okay, that's just who you were to me for good little chunk of time.
That's who I am inside.
Oh, but I had a doubt just because I didn't even subscribe. I just looked at the profile picture, but it was just you said that you were running a promotion on there, and I was like, well, there's no promotion. Is this the right person? Do I have the name right? But I didn't have any other image to go off of, so that's just who you were to me for a while.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and I don't think you were streaming. Did you have anything set up then? Okay, yeah. So there was just no that. I'm pretty sure. I just Googled Lav and stuff, and I just couldn't find anything, and that was sort of where I landed. So yeah, you were a tall, large-chested black woman in my head for a good little brief period of time. So then that happened, and then somewhere along the line you started streaming. How did you and Mrgirl have such a positive and friendly and working relationship with each other? How did it go from that and turn into that? By the way, I will reiterate too, if you don't want to answer because it's information for somebody else too, that's fine. I don't care. You're always allowed to carefree, allowed to just say I don't want to answer that.
Max protects himself.
Yeah.
I think that Max has a very deep wound, obviously, from, his past. And sure. I think that has conditioned him. Yeah, I think that's conditioned him to be very protective of himself. And I think when I came onto the hotline, I was what he thought I was trying to do was mind rape him. And so I'm this woman who he doesn't interact with too often because in his space, at least, obviously he interacts with women like in real life because he lives with one. But you know, in this space, and then there are other people who like not to talk shit. I don't want to talk shit, but you know, the women who I've seen talk to him on his stream, like the Mrgirl, are like very outwardly like flirty, right? Or like want something from him. And so I think it makes sense for him to keep that in mind when he's talking to a woman, especially. And then I bring up his mom, not thinking how that could be misinterpreted as like a dig. And it was me trying to empathize with him because I have the same situation with my mom. And he knows that now because we've talked about it since. But not the same exact situation, but my mom, my relationship with my mother is
your mom sucks?
Very similar. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I brought that up in an attempt to like, you know, level with him, but he did not see it that way, and then it just kind of snowballed. And I think as time went on, so that put him on red alert. And then as time went on, I think that he saw that I wasn't so bad, and that maybe we were similar, or at least at the very least could speak each other's language if we tried. And then I think, we didn't really interact except when, you know, a couple of people in his Discord were harassing me, and he took care of it and was nice about it. And then the Chaeiry thing happened, and I stood up for Max because I feel like no one else did. And I stand by that decision, even though everyone's trying to make me feel bad for it. And then yes, and then I went on his hotline, and I think that we could understand each other even more. So yeah, I think that it was like a slow meander, but I think that we're in a good place now.
That's what's up. Yeah, I think that I don't know if I've said it to you, but I think you might be the only person that likes Mrgirl as much as I do, at least like outwardly, to where people like, and you want people to hear it. But yeah, it was just really interesting. You garnered a lot of favor, but it came out of like a pretty heavy conflict. You're like the only person that's ever been banned, like by him. I have banned one person ever, and they literally said they're the ones who reported him to the FBI to me in another Discord, and I was just like, fuck this guy. You're banned from YouTube, you're banned from the fucking Discord. Like, I can't ban people from the Discord, but like I can pass the information along, and it can. So like, and as far as I know, that's the only person that was like banned without like an expiration date. You and Right of Reply, which is literally my least favorite person I've ever interacted with online in my entire life.
Yeah, it was very extreme. And listen, he didn't know. I fear what would have happened if I didn't become like ever present in his life, right? He probably we would have just moved on, and I would have been indefinitely banned probably. I think he was way too quick to write me off, and I think that he will acknowledge that also. But also I understand why he felt the need to protect himself and protect his community from me. Yeah, I get it. I understand it all. So I'm not mad. I wish that it wasn't at my expense, but what can you do? Humans gonna human.
Don't you fucking Brittany Simon me. That's not what I put the gun away from your head for. Yeah, I think that does make sense. Let's see. So what I assume that you said you saw him from Destiny's content, and then I just assumed that you hopped over. Did you start off with the streams, or his like more like the main channel content?
So I saw him. The first thing I ever saw was him talking to Steven on the stream about gender.
Okay.
And I was like, whoa, this is exactly how I feel. And this guy's delivery feels like home. I think that we have very similar senses of humor. Maybe it's because we're Jewish. Maybe it's because our families are from the East Coast. It's usually culturally pretty similar. Jewish family to Jewish family. So I was like, hey, you know, I like the way that this guy talks. I like what he has to say. I'm going to watch some of his stuff. And then I did, and it touched me so deeply. that I like was pretty instantly a fan. Also with like the stuff that he said about his mom, about being a people pleaser, like all those things I like really heavily resonated with, and it was so crazy to watch someone be so he was basically he was like not an open wound, because I think he's more resilient than that. But he was like, it was like essentially like he was like, I mean, it was pretty self-flagellating, right? Like a lot of his content is a little self-flagellatory, but it's like so crazy to see someone be that vulnerable, I think. In sort of just like a take me or leave me kind of way. And part of me really hopes to do that with my content also, so hopefully I get there. I'm still a little bit in protection mode right now, but yeah, that really touched me, and so I was like, I'm gonna join his Discord. And then that became something so beautiful in my life, because this is this is another thing of why him banning me hurt me so deeply. But I don't have a lot of friends because I'm agoraphobic, or I'm better now. I'm doing better now. But last year I have a heart condition. Last year I had like this big episode that almost killed me. And it gave me like pretty severe PTSD, and I have panic disorder and all these things. And so I couldn't leave the house. And so my social interaction like completely tanked, and I'm already sort of like not extremely social. So I was having a really hard time like making and keeping friends, and I was just really lonely. Like I'd spend my days doing absolutely fucking nothing. And then I found Discord. Well, first I found Club Penguin.
Oh, okay.
And I was just like playing around on Club Penguin because I used to play when I was a kid. And then Club Penguin had a Discord. And so I joined the Club Penguin Discord, and then a week later I joined the Mrgirl Discord. And instantly there were like so many people there, and it was the most social interaction I'd had in years, especially because of COVID. Like all of it was just like, whoa, this is so crazy. And then I joined my first VC, even though I was so nervous. I was like lurking for a while, and then joined my first VC, and then like instantly I made all these friends. And then they became like really close friends. That I talked to like every day for hours. And then we kind of splintered off into another server because it became more of like less of a Mrgirl friendship and more of just like we're hanging out every single day. Like this is like its own thing.
Would you call that a splinter server maybe?
Yeah. Okay. It was a splinter server. But yeah, and so that's been so valuable to me, is finding so many people that also like Max, that have the same sort of philosophy on life that I do.
Sure.
That like really appreciate vulnerability, and can make the same edgy jokes that I do, because that's so hard to find also in a climate that is so like, PC and rigid.
I get it. I do.
Yeah.
I sometimes I think I overcorrect myself a lot on stream, because I'm a lot edgier and a lot more loud and outspoken on stream, but I just kind of have like these like filters in places like TOS and all that, and a lot of times I'm interviewing people, so I can't be so free. I get it. The Mrgirl Discord, in all fairness though, it's a lot of times I just get anxiety from it, but some of my favorite people I've met are from there. I met Laska in there, and Laska is exceptionally controversial, and I fucking love Laska.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. Honestly, one of like the most honest, open, raw people I've ever met in my entire life. Like, kind of gives Mrgirl a run for his money in that category.
Totally, I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think so too. But yeah, he's like someone that I really valued meeting. Just that level of self-acceptance and outward vulnerability is very healing to be around, I think.
Yeah, I think part of like the best part of the Mrgirl community sort of does this thing to you where in our day-to-day lives we have to we have to act to some degree. Like when you go to work, you're not the same version of yourself as you are when you're at home. You have to like put certain filters up. When you're interacting with your friends, you have to put certain filters up. But in there, it's like all that shit's gone, and everybody is just being like uncomfortably honest and uncomfortably raw, and it kind of reminds you
beautiful.
To take those filters off, and you can be yourself in a really unique way that I don't know. Like for example, like when I talk to Laska, I talked to him on stream. I have since privated that stream as per their request, but it helped me understand that there's no matter how honest and open I think that I am, that there's some things that I just automatically reserve for like just me that I don't like having like that.
Yeah.
And I can understand, like, that's got to be such a weird experience going from having almost no social interaction to having like the most pure human to human interactions you possibly can. Because I know a lot of the people that are in there, especially the ones that talk a lot. And I would say they're mostly good people. The one guy from Australia is absolutely fucking insane, though. I can't remember his name. You have to know who I'm talking about. What's that?
Australia.
Yeah, he's called in a couple times to the hotline, and Mrgirl's always like, "Oh God," whenever he calls. Fuck, I can't remember his name.
Oh no, I'm a fake fan. I don't watch the hotlines.
You don't watch the hotlines? You get some...
I don't.
You know what? Did you like Advice and Confessions better?
Yeah.
I one of the things I was going to tell him, what I'm going to tell him next Saturday, is that I think he should do that every once in a while. He's tired of like how the format goes, and he's like trying to mix it up. So like, give us an Advice and Confessions once in a while. I made a video about unbanning Mrgirl, and I think 100% of the clips that I used to show like what we're missing was from Advice and Confessions. That was peak Mrgirl content.
Too. I think so too. Yeah.
I miss that. I'm glad we agree on that, because like, fuck, the hotline's great for what it is, but like, goddamn, Advice and Confessions was like it
was real. It was realer.
Yeah. Like you're like people. He says people come in and they're not really being bombastic. I think a lot of people call it. A lot of people call in and they want it to be Advice and Confessions, and they kind of have to like change their tone because they feel like they have to, and it's then he just wonders why people aren't being as combative. People don't want to fight with him. If you really like Mrgirl, you want to talk to him.
Yeah.
See, the people want to come in and talk to you. Yeah, they want to talk to you and they want to be more open.
Yeah, I think that also opens a door for like insane parasociality, though, and I think that Max is like extremely weary of that. So it might be a little iffy.
I think that the way Mrgirl is and the way that he makes content, he is going to have a higher level of parasociality than any other streamer already.
I agree. So you have to do things that like quell that, so it's not fucking insane. I think there are ways that he could. I think by having a co-host, maybe that's one thing that he could try. I think that if you're only talking to Max, it becomes like way more personal than if you were to have an Advice and Confessions and then have like one more person there. Feels like a little like a buffer. Could be Shaylin. Probably won't be.
No.
Could be me. could be someone new every week. Who's to say?
If we want to limit parasociality, it should probably be rotating. But I don't know if it could keep the same magic. I don't know if people would feel as comfortable.
Yeah, probably not.
And I'm biased. Talking to Mrgirl on Advice and Confessions like literally changed my life. Hearing him tell me to go to therapy, because like when you're talking to him and he tells you to go to therapy, like if you're watching and you only watch, he says go to therapy, you're like, yeah, he says that to fucking everybody. But he means it when he says it, and it's a part of like the whole thing that you're talking about. Like you get it and it makes sense, and I did, and then I got treated with medicine for some of my stuff, and I wouldn't have streamed if I didn't do any of that. I wouldn't be as functional as I am today. So maybe that's just me thinking that like, hey, Advice and Confessions seemed really, really good because it was super good for me. And nobody in my life was going to be like, hey, you should go to therapy. People don't want to say that to you.
Yeah.
So
true.
it would be cool if we had that again. And sorry for getting too hammered down on that. It's just
No, you're good.
I don't know how many people agree with that, because I don't get to ask a lot of people that question. Um, what what's your favorite main channel content? It's so weird saying that because there's no main channel, so I'm like tripping myself up here. Uh, Previously, the main channel content, like what was your favorite? I ask everybody this, by the way, when I talk about Mrgirl.
His gender narrative stuff.
Interesting.
Just because it was so, as a feminist and a gender abolitionist, it was like it helped me really. I don't agree with everything he said, but it really helped me fish out what my own strife was with this whole gender narrative, really, and then add on and go from there. And also, I really like the people pleaser video.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, God. I mean, everything I've seen, I really love. Even the COVID vlogs, which I only saw recently, actually. I went through maybe like 2 weeks ago, just like another sweep, because it had been like 2 months since I'd seen a video of his. Just as a refresher, and even seeing the conversations that he has with Shaylin are like so real that it makes you uncomfortable to watch. But then also, like, you know, I've had those exact same conversations with my fiance. So it makes you feel like way less alone, and maybe like you're not as stupid as you think you are, and also that like you're not alone in it, because a couples therapist can tell you all the time, like, this is very normal, but you never get to see it, right? So then you're like, okay, my therapist is just fucking telling me this.
Yeah,
you never get to actually see. Exactly.
This is what I need to hear. Yeah.
Totally. And you never get to actually see, you know, and even like and some of it is maybe not that. Well, some of what I realized in watching those videos is that I do what Max does a lot in conversations, and it's not necessarily healthy. Love Max. I think he's so capable of everything. I think he's a great person. I think conversationally he can get. I think why he gets so. I think he has his own shit.
Yeah.
The same way I have my own shit. And seeing him talk to Shaylin, and even the sex doll video.
The sex doll review.
Yeah,
real
sex
doll
review.
I'm sorry, the real.
Yeah, real doll review. Yeah, seeing him talk to Shaylin that way made me uncomfortable because I knew that there was something wrong with it. And then I was like, "Fuck!" I talked to my fiance like this, and now I'm seeing it as a third person, and I'm like, I could work on that. And that doesn't make Max a bad person. It just made him. It made him like a whiteboard for me to see maybe potentially what I was doing wrong and apply it to my relationship in like a healthier way, just because of what I want out of my relationship.
Sure.
And I think obviously their relationship is good and great and they're doing their own thing. But it gave me that, and also I think informed my relationship in a lot of great ways also, because me and my fiance really value honesty over everything, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it feels bad.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was also something that was like really affirming to see like another couple go through. So a lot of it is positive. Some of it is negative framed into a positive, or positive framed into a negative, but yeah.
You know, it's funny that when I watched the Real Doll review, my wife and I argued about it for like 2 weeks. And
so did me and my fiance. That is hilarious.
But I wanted to make a video, which took me many months to end up making, with my friend whose job is she does consent education at college, and she also is like the first responder at the college for any women that are being abused or harassed. It's like, I want to talk to you. You're the person to talk to about this, because if you disagree with me, I'm going to respect your opinion. I know you. I'll know where you're coming from. I'll know if you're being like biased or whatever, and I can call you on it, and you'll respect me. And she just, because college guys are so fucking terrible, she couldn't get a break from work. That's literally the reason why. It's just like, I'm sorry, I have to deal with the stalker situation right now. And so it got put off, and it's going to be on YouTube soon. And she said that nothing has ever challenged her ideas about what is and isn't healthy or abuse in a relationship than that. But if we had had it at at the initial time that I wanted to have it, it would have been evident that every single thing that happened that people were upset about, like I talked about these things, and Mrgirl completely like validated every single thing. I was no, he's saying this, like consistently through the entire thing. I would like him and I were on the same page. I don't think anything he was abusive. I just think that he was a dick at some points, which you're allowed to be a dick sometimes.
Totally.
If you're emotional, it's okay. Like sometimes
Totally.
I am, and it just be like that. And I even talked to my therapist about some of the things, and she loved the. I can ask you if I can park my car in your ass, and that's not violating your boundaries. She's like, I love that. And the only thing that I thought was bad in is that he called Shaylin a monster, and I called him on that, and he said, "You're right. I won't do that anymore." And as far as I know, that's the only time he's said that he did anything wrong in that video at all.
Yeah.
Because you probably shouldn't call somebody you care about a thing that you fucking hate being called.
But that's the thing, right? We weaponize the things that are weaponized against us.
Sure.
Especially if you grow up with like a narcissist in your life and you have that wound, it's like you just suck it up. You suck it all up. There are times when I get mad, and this I think this is interesting because it's a perfect display. This might be a little bit of a tangent, but my mom used to laugh at me when I'd have breakdowns when I was a kid. To like assert dominance over me, she'd laugh. She'd be like, "This is so crazy! I can't believe you're getting so upset." You're like would laugh at me, and I realized I got into like a big fight with, and she'd laugh only when I cried. Only when I cried, she'd laugh. So it was like a double. It was like a double. She like really wanted to drive it in.
Yeah.
And I had a really tough fight with my fiance like a year and a half ago. And he starts crying. And my response immediately is laughter. And then in the moment, I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, I'm doing this because I know it's going to hurt him because it's hurt me. And it was just like a crazy thing to like have the realization of like in the moment. And I think that's like, it's so similar. Like we call people monsters, like, when that is like our deepest fear, right? It's fucked up, but like it's just like human nature.
Sure. I think my biggest fear is to be called a creeper by a woman. Because I've seen people like that. I'm like, that's who I don't want to be. I don't want to be that guy.
Probably. So then when you see someone being a creep, you're like, you probably jump to call them a creep. Or maybe someone less introspective would.
I jump to try to get them to stop being a fucking creep. Yeah. That's usually, I try to make, like, please stop. If I'm uncomfortable, she's uncomfortable, please stop. You're freaking me out. Yeah. It's like
a sensitivity,
It's a very, like, fast and intense trigger to just make it stop, make it go away, please. I don't like this.
Yeah.
The thing with your mom is really intense. I got a lot of I just wasn't allowed to talk. I got grounded more for just saying words, like not even being combative, just like speaking my mind. If it wasn't what like she wanted to hear, I would get grounded for it. And so I don't like being silenced.
Mr. Girl viewer. Typical Mrgirl viewer problems with mom.
Probably.
Absolutely, everyone that I've spoken to all my friends that splintered, like, no, it's like the same thing, different day.
I mean, all the adults in my life, to be honest, but I was
same.
a very outspoken child and teenager.
Yeah, so was I. My nickname was Left Field Lucy. That's what they'd call me. Anything I said was instantly villainized. So.
Oh Jesus! I've had too many nicknames to count. I have a huge slew and collection of nicknames. It's unreal.
Yeah. Me too, probably.
I wrote this down. I have like physical notes that I take. I wrote on the top because you mentioned this term a lot. What do you mean by mind rape?
Well, it's when you're psychoanalyzing someone and not taking them at face value. Or maybe trying to get more information out of them, like you're entering their brain without consent, which I think I do quite frequently. And I don't think I do it to be manipulative. Well, maybe I do in a way, actually. But I don't, not in a way that is manipulative for, like, evil, but in a way that, like, you know, when I was a child, I had to manage everyone's emotions so that nobody could abuse me, basically. And so I think I've become hypersensitive to picking up on how someone feels. And so I do mind rape a lot, or psychoanalyze, just because, like, as a survival skill, probably.
I get that. I was like that a lot. I think that, I don't know, I think psychoanalyzing people, I just assumed it's something that people did all the time.
Yeah.
Um,
it's not.
Yeah, I think that it comes from if you have to spend a lot of your time walking on eggshells, you're gonna try to figure out how to anticipate where those eggshells are gonna be and step around them. You're gonna use whatever tools are available to you to do so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it until my wife told me, because she'd just keep hearing Mrgirl in the background and was resistant to it for a while, but just sort of gave up. And one day she goes, "Do you realize that he talks just like you do?"
Yeah. Dude, the same thing with me and my fiance. The same thing. When we watch the sex doll review, he was literally like, this feels like someone wrote a screenplay about a conversation that we've had 60 times.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I think maybe not so much on stream, but if I'm having an interpersonal conversation, like the meta conversation, you're like the only person I've heard say that they like the meta conversation. For me, if somebody shows me that they don't understand what I'm talking about, I am going to loop like fucking crazy until like, or if my favorite is the I don't want to move on and pretend like we talked about the thing.
Yeah.
That the easiest way to turn me into an absolute fucking psychopath is to like do that. It offends my soul.
Yeah.
That's in fact, of all the people that I've talked to about any of the Mrgirl stuff, I haven't divulged any of that, because like I think that you're the only person who said the things that makes me think that you would understand that. That's very cool. I guess thanks for making me feel comfortable to share that with you.
Thank you for sharing with me.
Yeah. So what does your name mean? Like I couldn't figure out what your name was, and that made me think that you were a tall black woman for a long time. What is the name?
It's Lav Loon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my name is Lavender Loon.
Okay.
It was my.
What's your actual name?
It's my actual stage name. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It is my name. Well, it's my stage name, and also it's been my nickname for years and years and years. I had purple hair for a while. I had a boss call me Lavender because my actual name, my given name, is hard to pronounce. So Lavender just stuck, and I've been using it ever since. And then I was a singer for a long time, and then Lavender just.
Oh.
Obviously, that was my stage name, and then it just continued on. And then Loon. The moon means a lot to me.
Okay.
For whatever reason. So yeah, it's just Lavender Loon. It's like it also was a great porn name, great for the OnlyFans branding. So yeah, that's it. And then also, I think it's funny, everyone started calling me Lavender Loony because there were 2 E's. And so now, like, my Discord is like the Lav Loony bin, which funny, like Loony. I'm self-described neurotic, so I think it's a little funny.
I think that might be one of the very few like qualifying statements you can make. Like if you say like I'm neurotic, I feel like that automatically qualifies you to be so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think neuroses is only a word that neurotic people use.
Yeah, this is very true.
Yeah.
So when I've been making this video about Mrgirl, and I've done a lot of things to try to like put myself in his shoes. That way I can get a better idea of like how to like what questions to ask, how to talk to people. But the one thing that I never managed to achieve, like you've nailed perfectly, is that you and Mrgirl are probably the 2 most polarizing people that I've seen on Twitch. I don't know anybody that's like just like, yeah, that's okay. People either fucking hate you or they absolutely love you. What's that like? Is that's got to be like a very unique like that? Is that like unique to you being online? And like in real life, are there plenty of people that are just like, yeah, she's fine? Or is it always like they either love you or they absolutely fucking hate you?
It's always love or hate.
Oh.
I think I'm an acquired taste. I'm obviously mentally ill. I'm an acquired taste. I think that you have to get me to like me, and not everyone's gonna get me. And that's fine. But I think the qualifiers to understanding someone like me are having maybe your own fair share of trauma and what trauma does to a brain. I think people traumatized brains can recognize other traumatized brains, I think.
Sure. Yeah.
Because that's how I think I got a lot of my I don't know if you know this, but I have like over 500,000 followers on TikTok, and I built my platform on TikTok and Instagram. I have 100K on Instagram also, on basically like relatable content, but the relatable content was like for a niche of people who were like neurotic, like a niche of people who were like self isolating, imploding. Like before I met my fiance is when I got like the biggest, and it was me like going out having sex every night with like men who didn't give a fuck about me, and like the charade, or just like the things that came along with that, and just being like hyper open, hyper vulnerable, and people connected with it. So I need you to get away. And people connected with it. So yeah. So it's either you like it or you think it's too much. I think I'm a lot, and I think that some people can handle a lot, but not everyone can.
I understand that more than I can probably express. Yeah. I think I've said often, almost always when somebody has a problem with me, there's been some sort of misunderstanding. But sometimes people aren't interested in resolving that misunderstanding either. I think it takes a charitable person to want to understand me. And I think Brittany said that on stream today, that was like, I know you, I love you. Do you think that all these people that hate you are like, will understand you someday? And I'm just like, I hope so. Like, I hope I hope so, right? Like, I don't blame them for not liking me, because there's certainly people I don't like who I don't want to get to know, right? Sure, yeah, so yeah. I'm like, if I'm that person for someone, fuck, I'll be that person, I guess. I think I don't think anyone has to like me, but I think that understanding is something that we should afford more people. I agree. Well, we get that through empathy, but like,
yeah,
in being polarizing, like every time I come onto your stream, because like every once in a while I'll lurk on there just trying to like get a vibe, but when you're playing Overwatch, I'm like, no, I don't like Overwatch. So I was in there one time and you read my comments like, oh, you're playing Hisoka because it looks like the character looks like the clown from Hunter x Hunter, and that was like the only time I ever said anything, save for like this last week. But your chat is fucking ass. They are mean as shit to you. The last time I went onto your stream, somebody said, it was like, have you ever had a brain scan? You look like a cow when you're eating. And I just said, Jesus fucking Christ. I don't even know if I gave any like explanation as to why I said that, but it was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's a lot. And then like,
and people accuse me of having an echo chamber.
It's I've seen people being mild is like the best I've seen. I don't know if I've seen anybody like defend you against any of those comments in your chat. Like most people's chats, when somebody says something shitty, there's at least some number of people that are like, hey, go fuck yourself, or like, no, it's not like that. There's some degree of like, somebody like standing up for the person that they're watching when this happens, or there's like some bickering, and nobody fucking cared. I was like, this just has to be normal. Like, this is crazy.
Normal. I think I think my philosophy in responding to those people is like immediate understanding, which maybe that's self-abandoning because I have a tendency to do that. But like when I read hate comments, because I'll read every comment and respond to it. So I'll read every comment.
You were nice.
And then, yeah, and that's my response. I'm like, maybe. You know what I mean? Like I'm not there to discredit you. You're coming into my house and I'm
sorry, what? No, we're good. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
But I'm, they're coming into my house and I'm letting them know that like anything goes. Like I don't want to have boundaries about what I do and don't talk about. So I try not to like, I don't try to reward anything, and I also don't try to like, scold anyone for criticism or whatever comment they have or whatever thought they have, because I think it's all valid in their worldscape. And sometimes also I'd like more people to go about hate in that way. Like, I don't know, because at first I think a lot of people did stick up for me, and I was like, guys, this is fine. Don't give it more attention than, this is what the person wants also. So I'll just respond, and they'll be unhappy that I wasn't upset by it, and then it'll just move on. We'll just move on. And I think that that's the best thing to do.
Yeah, it came off to me, having known none of this, like you sort of responded the same way that somebody does when they don't know somebody's like fucking with them. Because I do that a lot. Like if I'm like in the middle of this like a deep conversation, or like if I'm debating somebody and they just switch to like start fucking with me, I'm just like totally serious for like way longer than I should be. I'm like, oh, they're just being a dick. Okay, I understand. Which is, I didn't know if that's what you were doing or if you were just being like extra nice, but I was just like, wow, like you're having a very rare reaction to like very alien case of people just being like dog shit. Yeah, and this is like, it's like they showed up to be shitty. It was
I take it
weird.
In stride. I think also when you're a woman on the internet.
Sure.
I get like this. I've dealt with this for years and years and years. So comes with the territory.
Sense. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess I guess maybe I guess I've never seen a woman streamer like sort of in the early stages where they don't have like their like core group of fans like that are like filling that are just like filling up the chat all the time, to where a lot of that stuff sort of gets lost and pushed away. So that makes a lot of sense.
And also coming from like a sex work background, like we talked about in the beginning of the conversation, it's just like my skin is thick.
Sure, yeah.
It's thick.
Yeah, you're like a flame to incel moths for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Even an incel factory at some points, one might say.
You are the complaint department for angry internet nerds that can't get laid.
Yes.
I understand. So most recently, and I think that you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like a lot of this stuff sort of that happened recently has extended from you standing up for Mrgirl very aggressively with against Chaeiry, and then I think more or less by extension Stardust. Because it seemed like Chaeiry was the main target, but like you're like, Stardust, I fucking see you too, bitch.
I think that Stardust. Well, most of my problem was that I watched the conversation in which Chaeiry and Stardust were talking about it, and it very much felt like Chaeiry was like egging it on to Stardust, and Stardust was more of just like, okay, yeah, I can see it that way. Maybe he did do it on purpose. And then Chaeiry was talking about how it was like antisocial and like, you know, psychoanalyzing it, but in the most mentally ill lens, and then just like trying to push it onto Stardust. And I was just like, dude, this fucking sucks. Like, it just sucks so bad. And I think that it felt more personal to me also because Chaeiry had done the same thing to me on stream for past week, where she was like going over my my content and was like, oh, she's doing this to be manipulative. She's like, every action I had, she had like she put a motive behind. So it felt very like, okay, I just got mad at you for doing this to me, and now you're doing it on an insane scale with Max.
Yeah.
So I think that it was personal. I had a reason to yell at Chaeiry, and also it was like, to me, the action of lying about Max, because I think it was a lie. I refuse to believe she's that fucking stupid. To me, that was just, it was unpermissible. And then, I think also I went so hard. I wouldn't have gone as hard as I did at the end if I hadn't seen Max cry and no one stick up for him. Nobody in his court.
Yeah, it was weird, and he was the most outstanding version of a person in that position I could possibly imagine. I think that what he did was right, and I hope that if something like that were to happen to me, that I would be as in tune with my moral ideology as that, because, like, good God, he pointed out all the things that she did do. He pointed out the things that she did do right, which was say, like, I'm going to leave, and then left. But, like, he didn't really want to talk about like what she did that was wrong until, like, later on, which is, like, good on him, man. Like, that's, and, like, the one thing nobody even talks about too is, like, if somebody stands up and they're showing some of their pubes, that's fucking not on purpose, okay? Like, it's embarrassing for one, and, like,
pubes, even if you see pubes, grow up. Even if you see pubes, grow up. Yeah, grow up.
Well, I guess,
like, doesn't Chaeiry show her feet on stream every fucking day and then posts on Twitter pictures of her body without asking for consent, just, like, posting it? It's a fucking human body. It obviously wasn't sexual. You can see from the fucking video it wasn't fucking sexual. It honestly, to me, I'm like, oh, that's a little embarrassing. I should probably look away. If that were me, I would have been like, oh no, maybe he doesn't know how, like, what he's showing me. I should avert my eyes for him to be more comfortable, right? Like, I don't know, like, none of that screamed, like, sexual to me, but she made it sound sexual and a power play. I'm like, this has gotta be fake. Like, you can't actually think of yourself as a victim like this. Like, you can't possibly.
It's the kind of thing I would expect somebody to, like, DM me about, like, hey bud, like, your pants were a little low.
Totally.
Like,
totally.
Because it's only embarrassing if somebody points it out, you know?
Totally.
Otherwise, it's just like, oh, my pants were a little, my bad. Like, sorry. That's it. That's all that has to be. Because, like, I've never, like, I've seen people stretch and have that happen, and just let them know quietly. That's like the protocol. And
totally. And then she lied. And said, I watched him pull his pants down when he pulled them up.
Yeah, and also the thing about like, I have a terrible back, and I wear pajamas, like, a lot because of it, and it legitimately does help. Like, when he stood up and his pants were lower, it helps to do that. It relieves pressure off your sciatic nerve. This is, like, a legitimate thing that people do when they have a bad back, and like,
he just has a long torso. He's just built funny.
Yeah. And then when it was shown too, because, like, I thought that his pants were rather low too, but, like, I was like, oh, I do that, and sometimes when I get up too, like, I'm fat, so there's a little extra layer to that. But, like, my pants will stick or whatever too, and sometimes I'll have to pull my pants up when I get up. But, like, I didn't think it was anything weird or malicious. And even when he stood up too, and he like grabbed his pants, there was, like, a little bit of, like,
yes.
Like, I took it at that time as, like, he looked a little embarrassed, like, oh shit, my pants. Like,
I refuse to believe, unless Chaeiry is the most mentally unstable victim in the fucking world, how could a normal person would not react that way? You have to have trauma, sexual trauma, or have been hurt by men or whatever to assume that much malice on such a normal thing, and then to make that everyone else's problem. And then listen, the whole thing, whatever. Then Chaeiry sent me, this is getting into drama, but Chaeiry sent me this whole like essay that was like actually very mature. I didn't respond to it because I'm still mad at Chaeiry. Like I'm not ready to make nice. You know what I mean? Like I want to be mad at Chaeiry for a second because I can be. But it felt very mature, and then she comes back 2 days ago and is already fucking lying about me. She had this she had the Brittany Simon interview today.
Oh.
And she went on and said that I was lying about a Hassan allegation for attention. I'm just gonna... listen.
Hassan allegation?
Yes. Hassan had sex with one of my friends when she was barely legal.
Okay.
And even that... Listen. I don't think he needs to go to jail, right?
Sure.
I don't even think it's that weird, especially in Los Angeles. He was like 25, 26.
Oh, I read your tweet about that. I made a comment that most people wouldn't get.
But he's made the prescription that it's so fucking weird to date someone that fucking younger than you, which is why I tease it. Because sure. I don't think it's a big deal. Because he didn't break a law. I don't think he should go to jail. I don't think he's a pedophile.
He was 25 and she was 16. I remember this.
Not 16.
Was it not?
No, she wasn't 16. I've never said 16.
Oh, maybe I missed. Oh, was it? I read the thing. I read the thing. And I said, because you said, I don't think 25, you should go to jail. So just for people that knew me and Selena, I said, well, 25's pushing it, maybe 24. I started dating my wife when I was 24.
Yeah.
And my wife was legally allowed to date me in the state that I'm in.
Yeah.
So it was like a joke that like only if like any of the people that like watch my stuff or whatever saw that would get. That's how I remember that. But also, to be fair too, like fuck Hassan, the most second most dishonest shitty guy that'll say anything for money.
Of course.
Obviously,
and that's just another example. And that's just another example. It's like, and he would never. First of all, this girl's never gonna come forward ever. Sure. And he knows it's true, and he knows who I am. So he's never gonna try to fucking recant it. So it's like, what? He's not even gonna fucking bring it up. So it's like, why do I bring it up? If I don't think he explicitly did anything wrong, I can have it as just a meme, right? Like, he's never gonna fucking talk about it. Yeah, he's never gonna fucking talk about it. I don't care to talk about it, especially because it's not my story to tell, because she's never gonna fucking tell it.
Sure.
But it's just like, fuck, I know it happened, you can believe me, you could not believe me. I'm not gonna show you any fucking proof, because it's not my problem.
Sure.
But like, and then she said that she went on Britney's stream and said that I lied about it for attention, and I'm just like, girl, what? Off of what basis? Like, just trying to stir shit. I'm like, you send me this incredibly mature message that I appreciated so much, albeit I didn't respond to it, so maybe she thinks that I didn't appreciate it. Immediately gets back online, tries to reignite the war. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, it's just exhausting.
That kind of encapsulates my frustration with the both of them. Like I said, I try to talk to them immediately for reasons. They know why I want to talk to them. I talk to people about Mrgirl. Yeah. And I have no fucking idea what they actually think, because both of them will say one thing, and then they'll say something else that either, like, they'll say the opposite, or they'll say something that, like, logically disqualifies what they said before, and like it goes back and forth depending on which.
I'm flip-floppy. That's what Chaeiry said about me. I'm like, bitch, come on.
Well, and the stakes are very high with this too. Like I've seen you a lot in the last couple days. And the things that I've heard people say that you were flip-flopping on are like, I guess they're not things that I think that I care about anyways. That's why I can't remember what they were.
It's me going back into sex work. It's me going back into sex work. People think I'm flip-flopping about.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. When that stuff happened too, I was like, Why isn't anybody asking like what changed? What's this like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you changed your opinion, or you changed like your value on something or whatever, I'm more interested in finding out what hawappened, and if there's like really, and if somebody's actually being like dishonest or like maliciously like straw manning themselves to like try to get out of something, like that's also like it's. For one, it's the best way to engage with a person in good faith, and if they are full of shit, it's the best way to find out. Like, just do this. Waving your finger at them is just it doesn't give me anything.
Well, Steven did that and then felt like it wasn't valid. Like my reason wasn't valid. He asked me what changed, and I said, "Well, I think that I can actually contribute in a positive way." Because I think that the porn I'll be making will be different. It'll be educational. It'll be less, like, all of the criticisms I have with porn, it being, like, you know, a gateway for mentally ill women to extort themselves, or, you know, seen as a viable choice for any 18-year-old to go into, or glamorized, all things that I had criticisms over, like, those criticisms are still there. I'm just trying to see whether or not I can be, like, a positive influence in the space. And he was like, "Oh, so you can do porn because it's educational?" But like saying that in a tone like it was stupid, and I was like, "Yeah, I think that tracks. Like I think that I can do it because I'm 24, I want to make a difference, and it's a different kind of porn. Like I think that matters." But he framed it in a way like that it was the same thing, and I was stupid, and I was just like, I think it's wildly different for me to have a sex toy review than to be 18, not realize why I'm getting into sex work or what I'm getting into with sex work, and post a video with bruises all over my body that a man just like beat me up for sex. I'm like, that's very different.
Yeah, and I'm clarifying this for you and not for either audience here. When I say this, because I think there's a really interesting conversation to be had between you and I at some point about sex work. So I just want you to say, like, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with anything when I say this.
Yeah.
But if you have an issue with how porn is done, and you're saying I do have an issue with it, and you want to see it done in this way, like that's like, is that not the thing that you would need to make it be different? Like you're saying,
exactly.
like I have a vision of this thing that I've been a part of, and I want to make it different. Like that's the thing that's like the qualifier. That's the thing that you have to need to at least attempt to be different.
Exactly.
It's entirely possible that somebody could try this and fail in that endeavor, but like that's the fucking thing. It's the only thing that makes it fucking different.
Yes.
Is the desire to change this, and like the outcome could be worse. It could be better.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't matter. But like I think that like before anything else happens, you have to decide that like this should be different, and I want to make it different. Like. So, like, I understand how that can be a frustrating answer to hear, and, like, a really easy, like, something really easy to try to pin somebody on and make them look dumb, but, like that's literally the only answer that you can give. And again, too, that was the way that whole conversation went down. You had multiple guns pointed at your head. I don't think that any, like, given, like, 3 seconds of speech, should be held accountable to the next few, because you have so many people yelling at you and shouting at you. Like, I think that it'd be very hard for almost anybody to be able to hold a solid idea and communicate it clearly and consistently when that's happening. And like, especially like if you think that somebody's about to fucking scream in your face if you say the wrong thing, and you're in front of a bunch of people, and the thing you're talking about is important, and like, so like that matters with how you talk about it, because it's important. Like, there's just so many factors that make it like the most challenging kind of conversation to have. It was
one second. One second. Hold on. Okay.
I took a minute to eat some of my food. When I had to stop a minute ago, my wife came up to me and asked if there was something wrong with my food. I'm like, no, I'm just talking. I'm not trying to, like, show on camera.
Yeah, that's hilarious. And then, my fiance's coming in and is like, where's my food? I'm like, it's next to me, not in the fridge. Men. They won't eat unless you force them to.
You can tell by looking at me. I don't have to be forced to eat. My wife made me dinner, so she was like, "Did I do something wrong, or something like? Is it bad?" That's why I had to break. That is funny though. Mm-hmm. So I basically only know how things went down between you and Chaeiry. Like, what's like the you and Stardust vibe with this here?
I think the me and Stardust vibe. I think I feel loyalty to Max. I'm definitely closer to Max than I am to Stardust. I maybe call it parasociality. I feel a kinship to Max.
Sure.
And I know that interacting with Stardust, and I said this on his hotline, I'm like, would it make you feel bad if I interacted with Stardust? And he said probably, and I was like, okay, then I won't. I think my making sure that Max feels like he has a tribe is more important to me than fostering a relationship with someone I never had a relationship with, right? Like, me and Stardust have never had like any real sort of rapport, so it's not like a heavy loss for me to just like, yeah, I don't really want to fuck with you because you like were weird. And I'm also really against like any sort of false allegation thing. I think it makes people way less likely to take real allegations seriously.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm just like, I don't fuck with you. And then she also made a joke about it.
Yeah, which disqualifies her saying
sorry.
The pro Mrgirl things that she said prior.
Yeah, so I'm just like, okay. And I think maybe you saw the tweet. I was like, this isn't even a little funny. Under the joke that she made. And then she apologized to me and DM and was like, hey, I didn't really mean that or whatever the fuck. And then 4 days later she was like, hey, I host like a panel.
Okay.
And I wanna like, maybe you can come on. And I was just like, what? Like, our last interaction was negative, and I'm like, why would I want to talk to you? Like, why would I just want to be like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I was going
like, to you're weird, I'm sussed out. Like, I'm like, I don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah, that's fair. When you said that she apologized to you, which is weird to apologize to you and not Mrgirl, it seems like I was going to ask, does that make you feel like you're just content to her? But then you said that's why I said okay, that her very next message was, hey, do you want to come on my thing?
Yeah, let me see. People are going to clip this, so I got to make sure that I'm being 100% accurate.
And just to be clear too, I'm not necessarily expressing I don't have any thoughts or ideas about what I think about this. It's just how I might feel if that was
this is our conversation. This is our conversation. I'm dropping DMs. She said, I was not trying to falsely accuse Max of sexual harassment. I don't consider that sexual harassment. I honestly thought he was trying to get a reaction out of me. Regardless, I shouldn't have made the tweet. I said, I really do think that's fair, but the jokes, the stream name last night, because it was like #MeToo or something, which felt wildly inappropriate to me.
Yeah.
Wildly inappropriate. The stream name last night and the way that you've handled this after the fact is not conducive to someone not realizing how their actions affected someone or refusing to acknowledge it. I get that it's hard and embarrassing, but you fucked up, and I'd imagine if you cared about Max at all, you wouldn't act this way. And she said, I guarantee I cared about him. I've never been so heartbroken over a friendship as I have about this. I've cried multiple days over it. I've apologized, and the meme was to make fun of myself, which, like, no, it wasn't. I think people are going to see what they want to see, and at this point, I'm just moving on. And then later that night, if one day you forgive me for my misstep, would you like to come on stream with me sometime? I'm doing a new thing where I interview people by doing tier lists with them, and I think it would be fun to do with you.
So did that...
Maybe it's her showing her belly because she, like, knew that she fucked up or something, but it was just like, I just like scolded you because I thought that you did something morally reprehensible, and you're like, and let's go on stream together. And I was just like, no. Like, so it's just weird. I don't hate Stardust. I don't think that Stardust is even a bad person. I'm sussed out by her. I think that she makes a lot of missteps that I'm not comfortable with associating with someone who makes that many missteps. It's a different situation with Chaeiry, though. With Chaeiry, I feel like it is malicious. I think that she has perhaps the lowest levels of introspection I've ever seen someone have. Or when I did feel like she was showing levels of introspection, she immediately took it back by then coming on stream and fucking lying about me a day later. So who's to fucking say? I don't think that she's evil either. I think that she just has like a completely skewed worldview. I think that she says that she has BPD. It feels like BPD, HPD, and possibly NPD. All go off. I'm not a professional. It feels definitely a little crazier.
I have had a lot of experience with women in my life who have BPD.
So have
I. I was married to one. Is rough.
Prayers.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was bad. And like I understand. I'm not. I don't know what she has. But I don't think. I never would. So even if that's true, I still don't find it as an acceptable excuse to not show remorse for how you behaved, to not try to make amends for something and not try to justify something that was clearly out of line. Because like she did it pisses me off really bad. She did the thing poly people did it to me. And like I've never thought about talking to her ever again because at the end of the conversation I said, "Did you think I was bad faith at all?" She said, "Well, I don't think you were bad faith, but I don't want to say you were good faith either." Like, bitch, it's binary. It's one or the fucking other. Okay, like why are you? So like she was like, "I don't think that he was trying to sexually harass me, but I don't think that I was wrong." Like it has to be one or the other. Like how are you justified if you don't think that?
Yeah.
And I hate that I have to take a stand on like these little bits and pieces of things that I've seen, but they didn't want to fucking talk to me. They didn't want to talk about things unchallenged. And for Stardust to say that she didn't mean, like, I don't think of it as sexual harassment, then why didn't you fucking say that when Chaeiry clearly was making that case and you were standing by her, and that was the whole fucking thing, and you were like with her in it? That needs to be a big fucking part of your messaging. Very clear. No, there can't be any, like, ideas about what you actually think. Then you have to be out the gates and end with, this was not in any way, shape, or form sexual harassment. Even if his pubes were showing, then it's fine. Obviously, it was a mistake. He didn't do anything malicious to anybody. I don't think of him as a predator. All these things need to be said and repeated while Chaeiry is saying the things that she said, and then like walked back just enough for her to save face, and still like she can make herself look better, but until she crosses that line, Max is fully demonized.
Yeah, I mostly think that Stardust just like doesn't have like a backbone. I think that Stardust. I think she's a people pleaser. I really don't think that she's a bad person. I really don't. I mean, you see it in the way that she tries to mediate conversations, right? Like, she is very, like, middle ground. Okay, guys, let's get along. She's not, like, a highly confrontational person. Today is the most confrontational I've ever seen her, and it was with Max, which that was uncomfortable to watch. That felt like we shouldn't have been watching that on stream.
I found out about it late. I didn't get to see that part yet.
It was very odd. I was extremely uncomfortable. But yeah, so that was the most confrontational I've ever seen her. But yeah, I just don't think that she has much of a backbone, which is fine, right? Like I think that there's use to people being people pleasers, right? Like it keeps you safe to some degree. But I don't know. I think that you can't interact with people like Chaeiry who try to push a narrative if you're gonna have no backbone. Like you need to be someone like Max if you interact with Chaeiry and be like, no, that's not how it is. And obviously that doesn't work very well because then Chaeiry leaves the call and is like, she's like, no, you can't talk to me that way, bye. Which, like, good for her for keeping boundaries, but like that's what happens when you That's what happens when you say no to a narcissist.
I don't know what was going through Stardust's head, but I very firmly think that one of the qualifying things you need to have to be a good person is that when something wrong is happening, that you don't have to speak out against it, but you certainly can't participate in the bad thing.
Yeah.
I think that you're being a bad person in that moment. And if she's trying to say that she doesn't think that it was bad, but she participated with it being called bad, and the weight that it carried, she's lying somewhere. And she's lying at the cost of, sure, I guess they're not friends now, but, like, there's a big difference between not being friends with somebody and driving a stake through their fucking heart. Like, this is bad. And, like I said, I really wish I could have a better opinion, a better informed opinion, but I have no fucking clue what's going on with either of them. But I think that what happened, I think they both did a bad thing. And I'm more upset about it than I would like to be. Probably because parasociality and all that. But it's I'm glad that you went hard, because I think that in my mind, I thought to myself, well, the one thing that I shouldn't do is get really loud and rowdy, because if a bunch of horses come out of the stable rampaging, that's not what Mrgirl wants. But I think that your voice doing that was probably what he needed. He needed to hear somebody who was going to be loud and have people listen, being loud, and without the rest of the community, like, brigading them. That's, like, the kind of balance that needed to be there. So I think that's good.
Yeah.
Because it took a lot for me to have, to just try to say, like, hey, I want to talk to you and just hear what you think, and I don't want to challenge or anything. Because I wanted to yell. I wanted to scream and be like, fuck you, you're a fucking terrible. They say a bunch of things that I might not even mean later. Because I can be a pretty emotional person too. But I think that there was a lot of value for Mrgirl fans and for him that you did that. And even if I didn't hear everything that you said, and I can't remember it all, but even if some of it was, and I'm not saying it is, went over the line, they went over the line. Like, bad things are going to happen when something terrible happens. And I think that it was just nice to have an aggressive voice on the Mrgirl side of it. And I don't care what anybody says. You were right to have your right to feel that way, and you're right to express it directly to them. You're one of the only Mrgirl fans that has access to do that, and, like, fucking right on for that. And anybody who argues
for me, I'd want someone to do it for me, and that's the rule book. That's the rule book of which I base my code of conduct after.
Yeah, I talked about advice confessions. I had a situation where somebody accused me of like sexually assaulting them. There was a bunch of people there, including her friends, and everybody was like, "No, the fuck he didn't." And it still fucked me up for, like, many, many years that somebody would even say that. And, like, her best friend was there, and she shut her down about it too. And I think that if nobody said anything, even if she went nowhere with it, I think that it would be, like, 20 times worse for me. So I get that. That you did you were the only one that could, and you did. So I don't know. Is anybody even, like, on your side for doing that?
I don't know. I
haven't heard it. Well, you were in it. Was anybody like, no, Lav's fucking right, when everybody was yelling and shouting?
Oh, Zorka, which didn't look great.
That usually means you fucked up.
Am I fucking up? Yeah.
You mean the guy who very loudly hates women was on your side when you were yelling at women?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it happens that way.
Well, if it helps, I don't hate women. I
do.
I'm married. I have my, like, I'm not an incel card. Okay.
Yeah. Proof. Your one black friend and your one woman friend who is your wife.
Excuse me, I have been married twice. Okay, so as far as people know, I've probably had sex at least twice. As far as most people know.
Yeah.
And my one black friend and I are not on speaking terms anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
Because you were racist.
No, I don't have black friends. Are you kidding me? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Oh, too spicy for Twitch. Too spicy.
You did not just say that on stream.
I said I was kidding.
You tell him, girl.
You should have seen her. You should have seen her face.
For the 62 times thing.
No, are you kidding me? I don't know anybody. I've never met anybody in my life that like racist jokes more than my black friends. Oh my god.
Absolutely. I have the exact same experience with my black friends.
White people get upset about racist jokes.
They do more so.
Yeah, because the thing about racist people is they don't tell jokes. They just say racist shit.
True. True.
So yeah, it's basically the moral of that was that just good on you, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that appreciates that.
Alright, I'm gonna go tell him.
Okay.
Thank you.
So what are you do you have like plans to do more like content with Mrgirl moving forward? It seems like none of this shit's planned. It just sort of like falls together.
Hotline was fun. I'd love to do another hotline. I don't think, no plans. I think that we've become allies in the recent Orbiter drama. I don't know. I think we're both. Yeah, I don't want to. When he asked me to be on hotline, it was after I had yelled at Chaeiry, and I was like, "Fuck." I was like, if I say yes, I don't want you to think that like I've been waiting for this opportunity, and that's why I went hard on Chaeiry, because I wanted you to make content with me. And he was like, I was already gonna ask you to do it, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it then. But I was like, I'm very conscious of my relationship with Max because it started off kind of parasocial. But even so, like, I think the parasociality is different because I'm also someone who's had a platform for many years. So, like, it's not necessary. It's a position of power on YouTube, but not necessarily a position of power because I have my own cultivated fame.
Sure.
So I think it's its own thing, but I'm very conscious of it. I don't want to make him ever feel uncomfortable. Or like he owes me anything, or like I'm trying to have a deeper relationship than is allotted. I don't know. I'm just trying to make sure that he feels safe and he feels comfortable. So if he ever wants to make content with me, I will be glad to, but I will definitely not be the person who asks for it.
I gotta show my my Mrgirl mind read here. You understand that you're holding his boundaries for him, correct? You're attempting to.
Well, oh god.
Just saying.
Sure, I'm also comfortable this way. This is my boundary too. I'm very uncomfortable with explicit conversations unless they are I'm comfortable with them if someone else is initiating them.
Sure.
But I will not put myself out there.
I was like half teasing.
The way
you described it was exactly that, but yeah. I'm not actually saying you're doing anything wrong.
I'm aware of it. But
Okay.
I'm just trying to be normal. I'm just trying to be normal.
I understand. Yeah, for what it's worth too. I liked you on the hotline. It's always weird. I've seen a couple of people like co-host, and everybody seems to get when they should chime in. It's fucking weird.
It's very natural.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Cause like you, even Chaeiry, and then what's the fuck, Benny, like mostly quiet, and then just seemed like to find the perfect spot to say something in there. I was like, but everybody's just fucking nailing this.
Even with my autism, I was able to pick up on the social cues. That says a lot. There's something in the water.
Yeah, he must let the aura down for you to get through, huh?
Yeah.
So this is another one that I pretty much ask everybody. It's been a while since I've actually talked to anybody about Mrgirl for the purpose of this video. But why do you think he attracts people the way that he does? Because like his fans are obviously he doesn't have like the largest fan base in this space, but like I would say that he probably has the most loyal fans. Like if there was like an actual war on the subreddit, like these are the motherfuckers ready to fight. They're picking up rocks and they're hitting people in the fucking head. You know?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Like, obviously, element of parasociality, but like, what draws all this in so strong? Do you think?
I mean, I think the same thing that makes parasociality work is it's self-projection. I think that because he's so vulnerable, we see ourselves in him, and in turn, we want to treat Max the way that we wish people would treat us. You know, with the same empathy and the same honor. And so, yeah, I think there's a level of respect there that is, you know, I think Max deserves the respect, obviously. But yeah, I think it's mostly there because of self-projection, because we see ourselves in Max.
I think that's fair. One of the things that I think that it seems apparent to me when we talk about parasociality in streaming, there's like an element with him that's different in that he allows his audience to have a voice. He has the hotline and like the super chats, and even just the chat. He'll just take time and be like, I'm just going to talk to chat for a minute, and he'll read and he'll respond. And then with the Horse World Discord on the Sundays that I always forget about until like they're over, it's actually social. It's not just parasocial. People actually get to interact with him. He'll remember people's screen names and stuff. This isn't like a typical like parasociality. I think the first twinge I ever had of like that there's a parasocial thing going on is like I was like, oh, I didn't know Destiny got married. That's fucking weird. Like it just sort of passed by and I didn't know about it. And I was like, that's weird. And I was like, is that normal or is this just like do I feel like I missed an episode of a show that I watch every day? And I didn't really have an answer. I didn't really have a word for it either. But like when it comes to Mrgirl, like I feel like there's no questions that like the community has that he's not like answering when they ask.
Yeah.
He's more open to his community. Most people like I think like the polar opposite of this would be like Destiny, where like you could like buy 10 super chats and if he doesn't feel like fucking reading it, he'll almost like make a point about not reading it. It'd just be like, well, like you can keep on giving me money, but I'm not going to say anything, okay? It's like this forcefully like push away, keeps at an arm's distance, like the
You know what Max's birthday is?
No.
I'm gonna zodiac analyze him.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to tell me that you did. I was like, are you about to fucking show me up on my own fucking interview here? Fuck you, Lav.
I don't know what his birthday is. Maybe I can look it up.
Oh, wait! I did know because he said that it was his birthday. Fuck. At one point I knew. I'm super bad with dates.
Does anyone in chat know? Does anyone in chat know Max Carson's birthday? Dox him. Let's see. Max Carson, internet personality, birthday. We're finding it out. Because Steven is a Sagittarius. Oh.
I thought it was in April, but I'm probably wrong. Like towards the end of April or something. But like,
oh my gosh. This picture of him getting out of jail. I'm fucking screaming. That is so funny.
Let's see. Also, all of our interactions have been really cool, and I like you a lot. I hate Zodiac stuff so much, but I'll entertain it.
His birthday is December 25th. Is that a joke?
It's not true.
He was born April 29th. He was born April 1st.
Oh wait, I was going to say I think it's at the end. I think April 29th because I just said I think it's towards the end of April. I think so. I don't like Zodiac so much.
If he's a Taurus. If he's a Taurus, I swear to God.
Yeah.
If he's a Taurus, that explains so much. That's actually insane if he's a Taurus. holy shit, that's insane. And that also explains so much of his relationship with Steven, a Sag. Okay, I won't bore you anymore.
It's not. No, it's not. I'm just trying to express that I may have some physical reactions to the things that you say. Please do the thing. Drop his star chart and tell me why balls of gas that were in the sky when he was born, only on the month. And only in our framing of the zodiac.
The moon controls the tides.
Sure.
The water.
We're made of water.
We are also made of water. You don't think that the moon controls our bodies? That gravity, the stars aligning. Astrology is as real as God is, right? Maybe none of it's real. Sure, maybe it is real.
I would agree with that statement.
Yes. So it's fun. It's mostly just fun.
Okay.
And I think it allows a space for people to introspect. And I think that's valuable. Even if it's through something fake and silly. I think it's valuable.
Yeah, I'm not going to say any more of my own personal feelings about it. I should have learned a valuable lesson. My
What's your birthday?
October 17th.
You're a Libra.
Yes.
What is your wife?
I don't know what her sign is, but she's.
You know what her birthday is?
Yeah, the very end of August. I don't want to get super specific, but because
the very end. Is she a Virgo?
Within the last 4 days. Is that good enough?
Okay, she's a Virgo.
Okay. I don't even know what those things are.
Virgo and Libra is pretty compatible, so you're doing okay. I think it'll work.
My wife and I had a very good date with somebody, and she brought up zodiac to me afterwards, and I couldn't not say things so badly that she never talked to us again after that conversation on Facebook Messenger. And I was just like, I don't know how to make myself stop. I'm watching myself do the thing, and I just don't know. It was like I was burning down a house, watching myself do hey, stop doing this. Why are you doing this? So
that's fun.
I'm proud that I was able to stop saying things this time. I guess it's just one of those things.
It's a trigger. We'll move on.
Cam, don't fuck with me. I'm not reading that. But no, I get it. Sometimes my wife will read something, or her best friend will read something about it, and I've done better with it. So wait, you're saying he is a Taurus, and I'm good now. I'm gonna entertain. What is that? What does that mean?
No,
how does that
let's
relate
move
to
on.
him? Oh, okay.
Let's move on.
Okay, but you do realize now I'm gonna have to Google it after this.
Yeah, no, go ahead. You'll read it.
Is.
If he is a Taurus, and you'll read that, and you'll be like, "Holy shit!" Maybe he's not though. Who's to say?
I'm pretty fucking sure he's at the end of April.
It also makes sense if he was a Pisces though. I get Pisces vibes. I don't know what his deal is. He's around there. He's a Pisces or a Taurus. If he's not a Taurus, he's a rising Taurus with the Pisces moon.
It sounds like you just made that up to me.
I didn't.
Okay.
The only thing the same language. That's fine.
The only thing that I know about Pisces is that it's the Jesus fish.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to Google that word too, because that's. I believe you that you didn't make that up. That's probably what it sounds like to other people when I talk about nerd shit that I'm into that they have no clue about. Yeah.
Yeah, this is my Dungeons and Dragons.
I do play D&D. That's fair. I don't care for how accurate. It's not the biggest one for me, but I don't like how accurate that was. I know it wasn't. But
you look like the type.
It
as
like
a Libra.
But there's a correlation between Libras and D&D. Get out of here.
No, there isn't. I'm just fucking with you.
Okay. All right. That one was made up. So just out of curiosity, because I plan on talking to him about this. Him and I are supposed to talk soon too. Do you think that Chud could have done a lot better. Chud could have done a lot better in moderating that conversation to not let it go that far down that road between Stardust and Mrgirl.
Do I think he's capable? No. Do I think someone else could have done better? Yeah.
Well, I guess let me put it this way. When you say, yeah, I'll moderate this conversation, I think that you are saying that, yes, I can moderate this conversation.
What he's saying is I would love to have the attention on my stream.
But when it's something that's sensitive and vulnerable, if you can't moderate that kind of a conversation, you should not say yes. And I really, really, really like Chud. He's probably the funniest person that's streaming, at least in my book.
Too. I really like him too.
And him and I have had, even when the last time he brought me on because he was mad as fuck at a lot of stuff that I said, we were still pretty cordial with each other. I've always been really positive, but I think that I got to talk to him about that. I think that it was wrong of him to moderate that conversation. This is a pretty big bummer.
Yeah.
The whole thing probably shouldn't have been a rehashing of the conversation that made them not talk for 3 months.
Yeah.
We needed an adult in that moment saying, "Hey, we need to talk about something else now. That's not what we're here for."
It should have been me. Just kidding. But I think that honestly, if it was just me, Steven, and Max today, I think that actually we could have gotten somewhere. But that's also wishful thinking. I also really want to moderate a discussion between Brittany, Simon, and Max.
I thought you were going to say Dan. I swear to God.
Oh, Jesus Christ, no. I don't know what Dan's deal is.
I think that it's obvious, right? He's a sociopath. He's like a real one.
Oh no, Anna should bring out the Dark Triad papers.
Oh yeah, you said it today too. I thought Anna was like legitimately insane for a long time. I've talked to her a little bit. She's a lovely person. She really is.
I think that when we get low, humans, I mean, when I say we,
yeah,
when humans get low, it gets fucking messy and dirty and grimy and disgusting and guttural and hard to look at. Anna is not her in her worst moments, right? That's her functioning off of some insane level of hurt, right?
Most of us don't have a camera on us.
Exactly. You're not thinking rationally. You're not acting rationally. I've had a conversation with Anna. She was delightful. I think she was extremely kind. She seemed very normal. For whatever reason, Destiny and her, I don't think that there's any fault to assign, right? I just think that, you know, whether or not, unbeknownst to Steven, there was a trigger for Anna that really uprooted something very ephemeral inside of her, and it became something really big. I also don't know everything about it. I only knew what I asked Steven about, and Steven was like, oh, it was a thing, we're fine now, you know, we hooked up, and she thought it was, like, deeper than it was, and that's, like, the extent, right? And then I saw the video.
From his perspective, that's probably 1,000% true.
Yeah, but now today,
for how she feels.
True. But then today, everyone is messaging me and is like, "How could you bring up Anna today?" Because I brought up Anna today in the call, not in a way to like get one on Steven, but I was like, yeah. I was bringing it up because I was trying to illustrate how it wasn't just them anymore. Then the audience's view of it became a different beast.
Sure.
So much so that a year later now, or years later now, if I even mention Anna, my chat will go up, and everyone's like, she's fucking crazy! And I'm like, holy shit. This is, like, years later, these people are coming onto me, a nobody's platform, and saying the same shit. I'm like, this goes beyond you, Steven. Like, once you get the ball rolling, it fucking snowballs.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to illustrate. Like, if you bring that on stream, your audience is going to take it and fucking run with it. I wasn't trying to, like, get one over on him, but people were really mad that I brought it up. I guess I don't understand everything that happened.
There's like a little piece of lore, because I've watched Destiny, like, never been a part of, like any of the chat or anything. I've, like, literally, like, lurked for, like, 4 years. But usually, Anna seems to get pretty upset whenever she's brought up on her stream. and then like there's like some kind of conflict. I don't know how many people are give a shit about that, or if they just want like to have an excuse to yell. I'd say probably 80+%. But some of those people might have just been like, whoa, hey, we don't like. Anna might get really upset because like he's talking about her on his stream. That would be the most charitable take I could possibly give to anybody.
No, people were. If you see the tweets at me today, they were like, "You fucking snake whore! You bringing up Anna on stream." I was just like, Jesus Christ! Like, I guess I did miss something. I was like, fuck, maybe I didn't know the whole situation. So whatever, I'll let that rest. But I think Anna's great. She's been great to me. Maybe my mind will change once I am aware of her egregious misgivings. Who's to say?
One, I really, really like the phrase snake whore. I never heard that before. That's fantastic. Oh my god. I'm going to try to work that into conversation whenever I can now. That's very good.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome.
Also, she's super pleasant. She streams at really weird times, and I never sleep, so like sometimes she's the only person on, and I think that I'm the reason why she knows how Mrgirl got kicked off of YouTube and stuff. And she said my favorite thing that I've ever had the pleasure of clipping, her response at the end of that was, "Nazis are ridiculous. Oh my god." It's on her channel. It's like if you just search it's my favorite clip ever. Right. I think if you hear that, you have to like Anna at least a little bit. You can't hear somebody say that and not like them.
Yeah, totally.
There is a wonderful sense of innocence when you hear somebody make a statement like that, and it was just very good. I'm a little bummed because I feel like they would have been Mrgirl and Anna would have been really good for content with each other, and it just didn't seem to.
Together?
They're not making content together, and I think that would be fantastic to see them two.
Be good.
Right? If they
be pretty good.
Like if they met up on like mutually good terms to do something, I think it'd be fantastic. Like prior, it was like I don't know, it was like a weird situation when they did, and I think Anna only heard the bad things about him because she's cool with him. I talked to her about Mrgirl. So I talked to everybody about Mrgirl, and she's like she's totally cool with him. I'm supposed to talk to her about him at some time in the future and like about her. We just have very loose plans to do so.
I wonder she could actually. I don't know if she'd be super receptive to Mrgirl because I hear that a lot of what she says is that Steven abused her. I hate the word abuse because it means so many different things to so many different people, and I wonder if pressed on it, if she'd get like really emotional. I'm sure she would.
I think it would be good if they could both stay away from him as a subject. I don't know if that's possible. Both those are two people who want to talk about him so fucking bad. I think it's just inevitable.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I don't know.
That's funny.
I hope she's healing.
She seems like she's doing
whether or not it was Steven induced or self-induced, I hope she is healing.
She seems good.
Yeah.
I don't ever know what fucking cutesy game she's playing is, but like she's not. There are definitely worse streams you could watch. She's just usually like pretty cheery and positive, unless she's crying because somebody was like particularly mean. But to be fair, people are really, really, really fucking mean to her.
Dude, they were mean about her on my stream. I can only fucking imagine.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, Zerka screamed at her, and she was really upset on one of the streams. And she said what he said. I don't remember, but I was like, oh my god, that shit's wild. Yeah, people. One of the things that I really like that's come out of Mrgirl's stream that I hope kind of permeates through these spaces more is that people's feelings actually fucking matter. It doesn't matter if you're making content or not. Like, it's okay to ask if somebody's okay. It's okay if somebody's having a really negative reaction on stream to like chill the fuck out for a moment. Maybe just message them on Discord. You don't have to say it out loud. Like, hey, you good? Should we stop? Do you want to take a break or whatever? I understand that might make the content a little less good. But you're sitting at fucking 800 plus viewers anyways. Maybe you can lose 50 viewers when things chill out a little bit. I don't know. It seems like there's something pretty important that's lost here, and nobody wants to talk about it.
I think the problem, especially with like conversations where Stephen and Max are in it, is that I don't know if you know what DBT is, but there's like a DBT skill and it's called Wise Mind. This is like a therapy. This is a therapy mind rape I'm giving you right now. So basically, I think Mrgirl, I think a Max, is very emotional, and Stephen is extremely logical. And you're supposed to, within yourself, meld those two things together, and that's Wise Mind, right? And then you sit with Wise Mind. The problem is that I think both of them are on two sides and have a really hard time accessing, Stephen accessing the emotional part and Max accessing the logical part. And so it's just like, it's like your last two brain cells like fighting each other. Like watching Stephen and Max have a conversation is literally the conversations I'm having in my brain constantly at any given point. And when people are like, "You're so flip floppy," it's like, yeah, because my brain cells are literally Stephen and Max constantly. So that's a prison, and I will get a lobotomy. But yeah, so I think that's a big thing that is like, I think that's the hardest, is just that. And I think that there's value to both things. I don't think that one thing is worse or better, right? Like, I think that being highly intuitive and emotional is a great strength. And I also think that being highly logical and being able to problem solve is also an immense strength. I just wish that they would meet halfway a little bit.
Yeah. Somebody, I'm trying to find it. Somebody pointed this out before. Let's see. So somebody wrote a review of my content, and they talked about Destiny Mrgirl. They said, I would attach honesty to Mrgirl and logic to Destiny. And then the part that they put me into, that part of it isn't really relevant to our conversation. Well, I mean, I'm not weird about it. I just didn't want to insert myself into it, because that's not the point. I just wanted to pull it up so I could say, yeah, like, Mrgirl is like honest and he's super raw, and it feels like it feels like Destiny doesn't think that he can like have like the intellectual honesty if he has like any feelings about anything. It's like the only thing that ever comes off as super dishonest is when he acts like he doesn't have emotions. Like, fucking chill. Yeah. You can have feelings. But I don't know, like, it feels like Mrgirl is super duper honest, but like, he's also pretty fucking smart too. It's just that if one thing has to win over the other, it's probably going to be that feelings win over.
Yeah, I also think that both of these people think that their truth is the truth. Right? Yeah. That's like another thing. I think that Max really thinks that, and that's one of my biggest gripes with Max, is that and I talked about this in this hotline. I'm like, I don't know. I think that maybe sometimes his truth is the truth, but also when you're so emotional and highly intuitive, your truth can't be really the truth. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Stephen. Like, when he keeps saying that like Max is gaslighting, I think he's being honest in that he thinks that. But that's not the truth. Max just sees things differently than he does. He's not gaslighting him to be like malignant. It's just how he sees it, and he's like desperately trying to get Stephen to see it that way. I don't know.
Yeah, I
don't know.
Like
these people are crazy.
I think it's always like they're both grappling super hard with each other to try to get the other to bend and see it their way.
Yeah.
But I guess probably just bias, but it feels like Mrgirl's always saying, like, I do fucking understand what you're saying, but like, you're not understanding what I'm feeling. Like, I need you to understand what I'm feeling. Yeah. Like, it's like I understand the logical part of it, but like, that's not all that matters. Stephen oftentimes can't go there. Like, he just doesn't care. He's like, yeah, no, he cares. They both care about their versions of the truth. Yeah.
But both versions of the truth are just like different. So
somebody in my chat
one of those things.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Somebody in my chat says that you had a great read there, and you shouldn't doubt yourself.
I will continue to doubt myself, but thank you.
Sure. Well, maybe when you go to doubt yourself, you remember that Cam the Jelly Man had some really nice things to say to you about it, and like I don't know, I think it's important to take in what other people say. Although, like that's like the Mr. Girl thing. You can't really know how you feel, right? Like there's things about you that you can't know because you're you.
Yeah.
Although remarkably, nobody's ever fucking used that argument against him when they're trying to tell him something about him. I have no fucking clue. It's the fucking ace card. Nobody ever fucking pulls on him. It's insane. It's insane. That's the... You can trump fucking any claim you make about him with that, and nobody's ever done it. Not once. Not just nobody.
I will. I'll bring it in next time. I've armed myself.
All right. You can tell him in private, but just let him know.
Yeah.
Just let him know that that I helped.
Yeah.
Because I chose not to use it to him when I debated him about veganism. Well, debated him. I just wanted him to honestly consider the things that I said, and he did. So
Are you a vegan?
Yeah. Yeah. My Chinese food has no real chicken in it, but it's still really good. Like I'm fat. You can tell the food I eat is tasty. Okay. People who say that the food doesn't taste good, you're full of shit. If the food didn't taste good, I'd be skinny. I'm not.
True. I was a vegan for 6 years.
Oh, nice.
5 years. Sorry, 5 years. I lied. 5 years. And I then figured out that I had celiac disease, and it is very hard to be vegan when you have celiac. Unless you're eating raw. And I just won't.
Raw?
Yeah, like unless you're eating like mostly greens, mostly nuts, mostly like paleo, but it's like paleo without meat.
Paleo with no meat or with like no like eggs and shit.
Yeah, which is like it's hard because most fake meats are made with bread. With gluten.
Oh,
or with gluten.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, half the fucking shit that would be really good is fucking ruined because they make it gluten free. There's a restaurant owner who's same thing. Like, why can't I buy mac and cheese with like fucking non-gluten free noodles? Like, why are they punishing me? Well, I guess it's gotten better. I'm not trying to convince you. I don't try to convince people. He's just had a lot of insane vegans say insane, crazy things at him. So I just wanted to be like the one person who's like, hey, here's some not absolutely batshit fucking crazy reasons why you should consider it, based on things that you have already said. Because I don't think I'm batshit crazy. But the Mr. Girl community is like the home for like absolutely insane vegans. It's so weird. One person said, I think that killing animals is murder. I think that animals are people and killing them is murder, but I think we should do it anyways. I'm like, what? And then she told some weird story about a dog and octopus who were friends, and the dog killed the octopus and watched it die, and it was fucked up. Like, what is happening? That's the kind of vegans that are in the Mr. Girl community.
I notice myself that I have like a hierarchy of animals, though. Like, I won't eat a cow or a pig. But I will eat a chicken, and I will eat a fish.
Pigs came first for me. I cut out pigs first.
Me too. I don't think I've eaten pork for fucking probably much longer. Like, from now, probably 10, 11 years.
Oh wow, good on you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
They mourn their dead, and I was like, I don't want to be the reason why somebody is sad that their best friend's gone, and they have best friends.
Yeah.
I was like, they hold grudges? They can play video games? Like, I probably can't eat this thing anymore.
Totally. Have you ever met a cow?
Yeah, I lived
they're like dogs.
In Michigan. There's farms like everywhere.
Dogs.
And people beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
On farms and stuff. It's insane. Like, when I was in high school, people would talk about, like, this cow wouldn't move, so I picked up the bat and I started hitting, and I'm just like, the fuck? Like, I wasn't even vegan. But, like, it's just, like, such a casual part of conversation.
That documentary... Yeah, that documentary, Farm to Fridge, is what got me to be vegan for all those years. Farm to Fridge fucked me up.
I don't seek out stuff. I was already vegan, and Perspective Philosophy sent me a video and told me I should watch it, and it made me watch fucking sheep getting killed, and it made me watch a cow get beheaded, and I was like, this isn't fucking for me, all right? I'm already doing the thing. I don't want to see any material that's designed to make people not want to eat meat. I don't.
Would you eat lab grown meat?
I might. Let me put it this way. I would try it for sure, but like, I think I'm just like okay not having it.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not. There's no ethical quandary for me. I'm like vegan just strictly on ethical reasons. So like, in fact, when I think about it, yeah, I would have to. I would have to reward people for like producing this. I would want them to like further produce it, because if shit that's out there isn't good enough for people, if it's just like a taste thing for them, then yeah, I would have to like vote with my dollar and say yes, do more of this, please, because otherwise, like, what the fuck am I doing?
Totally, but I also think the taste leaves. Like your hunger for like the taste of that leaves. I remember like eating an Impossible Burger, and they're supposed to taste like so much like meat. I fucking hated it. I was like, this is disgusting.
Impossible Burgers suck beyond meat.
So good.
Yes.
So good. Yes, absolutely. You get the ground beef. You put mustard and onions in it, and then grill it. Holy shit. It's incredible.
Del Taco has Beyond Tacos. They have Beyond Guac Tacos, and they're so good. And about 80% of the time they put cheese on them. And I say, can I get that with no cheese? And they're like, it doesn't come with cheese. I'm like, look, I know this.
Yeah.
But the fucking guy in the back's going to put cheese on it, so if you can make sure, that'd be great. I waited a half hour on the line, and they always do. Like, consistently. But, he says Del Taco is Midwestern as fuck. I don't know if you have Del Tacos, but, like, they have Beyond Tacos slap. That's funny. Yeah, I can tell you were vegan. When did you stop?
Probably 4 years ago.
Okay, because nobody's as passionate about tasty food as vegans are. Like we are like what foodies think they are.
Because we have to make food edible. We have to make. Really, we really care about it.
Yeah, in a way, I felt liberated from my shitty old diet, because I had to like try new things and like be creative and actually think about what I wanted to eat for once.
Yeah.
Instead of like, I guess I'll just get McDonald's on the way home.
Yeah, totally.
The reaction to the Beyond Meat, on point. Yeah, I don't know what Impossible thinks they're getting away with, but it's garbage.
No, it's awful. It's so gross.
Yeah, it has
nothing. It bubble guts. I've never the shits that I've taken after an Impossible Burger are like ungodly. Like they're sinful. It's horrifying. Anyway, let's move on. Where's the lie? Where's the lie?
All right, I don't care what anybody says about you. I like you. You're good in my book. Okay. If you can tell me to my face that Impossible Burgers give you the shits, and I know you're right. You have expressed a level of honesty that I respect. I don't think I have a whole lot more. But I guess if anybody in chat, if you have any questions, I did. So I'm gonna leave this up to you. I just seen that it was sent. I am not going to force anybody's words onto you. In my stream, I told you this is no gun to your head kind of interview. I seen that Extreme Dad messaged me, and all I seen was tell Lav. Do you want to know what he said or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, give me 1 minute. Because I'm not. That wouldn't have been comfortable with me without asking you.
Thank you for not extreme dad raping me.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
That turn of phrase feels a lot more aggressive since I am a father. Just saying. I'm just saying.
Oh no, you're a father? How many kids?
I have a 14-year-old.
Oh, nice. So you've at least had sex once.
Well,
not an incel.
And neither of them were my wife, so like maybe 3 times.
Oh my god! Holy shit, you're actually a slut. The absolute opposite of incel. 14 is a hard age. Girl or boy?
Boy.
Okay, that's a little easier.
Kind
Not
of.
by much. Can't be by much. There's a lot more to I think actually, maybe in this day and age, I think a lot more to worry about with the son, actually.
It's, it's all worrisome because my kid says things that he shouldn't say when he's online. Like, people are like, oh, where are you from? And we're like, let me give you my exact fucking coordinates right now. This is what time I go to school. This is what time I come home. This is the route I take.
Oh,
like,
my
that kind
God.
of shit. I'm just like, oh my fucking god, kid. Like, do you... Like, why do you make it so hard for me to let you fucking have a phone and not be socially ostracized? Okay, like, why?
Oh my god.
Yes.
Yeah, no. The, what was the old, like, Mickey Mouse had, like, a how to stay safe on the internet, like, application test? They should do those way more.
There should be something. I have, like, a monitoring app on the phone, but it's so silly. Like, it picks up the goofiest things. So, it says, call Lav out. That was my fucking idea. I literally told her about that. And then it looks like there's some screenshots of your guys' conversation. It says, when you wake up, if you would be willing to hear me out, I've been thinking a lot about you and your story, and I want to talk to you about possibly building something out of it that might help that poor 19-year-old girl you spoke about last night. There are a few things that I need to know right off the top, because for all I know, you may find this proposal a complete non-starter, and if that's the case, then as before, no need to reply, but you should give me 5 minutes in a VC one-on-one to pitch my case to you. It might not be as bad as you expect. Basically, I'm trying to offer you a new perspective on the industry. There are ways to use sex work for personal gain. Oh, so I think he's saying that you got the idea to do educational sex work videos from Extreme Dad.
It didn't. Like. I got the idea from this girl named Zoe Ligon. Zoe Ligon? Lingen? I don't know how to pronounce her last name.
I hope you're not asking me. I don't know her.
No, I'm not. But Jesus, I'm having a stroke actually. Okay, from the top, Zoe Ligon. She does exactly what I want to do. So it wasn't his idea. I don't even know if I read that whole thing. He posted like a whole paragraph. I don't normally read things that are that long because I have a short attention span. So no, Extreme Dad, you can't take all the credit. Love you, but I am able to come to the same conclusions as you without your help. Thank you.
Well, in all fairness, then it seems like you guys were on the same page.
Yes.
Well, there you go, Extreme.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah. I didn't really, I guess, understand that you guys even had any interaction before that. Oh, yeah, I don't want to forget. Cam, I think that's rude, but I'm going to read your question that's not rude. Do you think Mrgirl is in love with Destiny?
Oh, I'm not in love with him. I think that, and this is me psychoanalyzing Max, so I could be completely wrong. But I think Max puts himself in relationships where he, like, can't stop needing. Like, I think that he will attach himself onto people where he's not getting his needs met because it feels comfortable, because that's what he grew up with in his family.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like a Freudian feedback loop. I have done and do the exact same thing. I would be embarrassed to admit to most people how alike my mother and my fiance are. In the best ways and the worst ways.
That was my first wife. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, we often attach ourselves to people like that, and I think that I don't, and not to say that that Steven and his mom are the same person, but I think that there has to be something there where he's like not really getting his needs met, or like obviously I think Steven invalidates Max a lot, his feelings a lot,
which makes him need him more.
Exactly. Unknowingly. I don't think Steven does it on purpose.
I think they both get it like 40%. Just enough for the shadow to be there on the brain, yeah.
Yes.
So, like, you say, like, let me ask you this then, because this is the way that I'm crazy like that is that I want to talk to my wife, and like I'll just be like, I'll need something, and she'll be like, well, what do you want from me? And it's just like, I don't fucking know what to say, but like, I can't tell you what it is, but like, I need it, okay? Right now I'm not good, and that's whatever, like, you need to figure it out, and I need it, because like right now I'm not good, and like I'm gonna be fucked up and weird until I get it. I don't know what to tell you, and it seems like that's kind of what happens.
Yeah.
It's like, if I could tell you, I would, but it doesn't fucking work like that. Unfortunately, it's just on you, and we're gonna be weird at each other for a little bit here, because I need this thing.
Totally. I do that with my fiance constantly, and it's fun. It's a fun dynamic to have.
Yeah, sometimes it's just sort of like you're just screaming at the other person, like, just fucking fix me, okay? Like,
yeah,
I don't know, but like, you have the fucking keys right now. Take me where I need to go, all right?
Yeah.
I feel that. There's an interesting thing that happened, and I don't think I necessarily like. I don't think I'm gonna ask you a question like this after this, but I don't like having you say like, who do you think was right between like Destiny or Mrgirl? Like, that feels like a little
neither of
shitty.
them.
Well, I was gonna give you the specific situation. Because I had my opinion was very unpopular, and until recently, I was really surprised that Will didn't agree with me, and I actually went on his stream and argued with him and like 4 other people at the same time about it. The Nick Fuentes thing, I thought the first conversation they had was the first time I've ever seen Destiny get blown the fuck out in a debate. I was like shouting about it. I was driving to the hotel we had to stay in when we had no power while we all had COVID. I was like, oh my god, like, I've never seen Destiny lose this hard. It's like this is gotta, like, everybody has to see this, right?
With who?
Mrgirl. About Nick Fuentes. That whole conversation. I was like, this is like Mrgirl is literally at his best right now. I've never seen him like debate so proficiently. He avoids debating. And it's just the first time where I've seen him, like, he has to win this. It's not about the win, it's about getting the point across. And it was just like, to go like a little anime nerd here, like, just like watching like a master swordsman just like fucking absolutely like, just flow. And when Destiny didn't get it, I actually have this screenshot saved too, because I was trying to make a video about it, but I had COVID and it became too irrelevant in like the time, like, space of it. He was trying to explain to him, which I think everybody misses this. I think Stardust missed it. It caused a lot of problems. He's like, Steven, it's me, and he had tears in his eyes, and he's like putting his hand over his heart, like just trying to say, like, I understand the thing you think I'm doing, but I'm not. I'm just trying to say what I'm saying. And when you're loading up like you're loading up all these like malicious things you think I'm doing, but it's me. And that's all he's trying to say is like, it's me. Like, you should just know when I say it's me, that like, put your guard down, stop, just fucking hear what I'm saying. I'm not trying to fight you. I'm just trying to help right now.
I think Steven has a propensity to, when given a misgiving, for it to for his whole being to deteriorate. Like, it's very. I don't even think that he realizes how personal he takes these things. But like, even when, I think that it's hard to give feedback to Steven and his like for him to internalize it, because I think he thinks that if he is to internalize it, it means that he is bad, or that he's a bad person, or has done something bad. And I think that oftentimes in his space, like in that sphere that he's in, that is true. Like, you are painted as bad if you like concede, right? So I think that I think it makes sense that Max would be like, it's me. I'm not trying to, this isn't a gotcha moment.
Yes.
I'm trying to help you grow. I'm not trying to catch you in something so that you're seen as stupid or the bad guy. I'm actually trying to give you something that I think will help you. Which I think is really powerful and beautiful if it were to be taken in the right way, but it's not. So I think it ends up just making Max feel unheard, Steven feel unseen, and, you know, it's not something that should be happening in front of, like, a live studio audience, right? Like, I think it's a perfect conversation to have in private. But how could Steven not read it that way in front of a whole audience when everyone who comes on his stream is trying to get a gotcha, right? So
it made me sad for both of them.
Totally.
It made me sad that Destiny couldn't, like, if there's anybody in the whole fucking world who's gonna talk to you on stream and not try to get you, it's him.
Yeah.
Like, that it's so obvious to, and even if you don't like Mrgirl, it's fucking clear as day. Like, that if there's anything that he fucking wants in this space, it's to understand that he sees him as a friend and he'd do anything for him.
Yeah.
And, like, I was really sad for Mrgirl because he's just, like, watching his friend just, like, completely look past everything that he's saying and seeing him as, like, a bad guy in this moment. And then it's super sad for Destiny because, like, nobody can ever be emotionally sincere with me ever. Yeah. Everybody's always trying to get me.
Steven is particularly guarded because of the things that people have done to him also. So I think that, you know, it makes sense why he's there. I wish that he wasn't, but he's sort of had to do this as a survival skill also. So I get it.
And that's, I mean, it's funny too because it has been pointed out to him that he is more guarded than he thinks he is, and he's even guarded against that. And
yeah.
The thing that was said, that, like, everybody looked over, which I think was probably, like, the most impactful. I think Abba was grilling Mrgirl, and he said, I'm worried that I'm going to do my very best to try to convince my friend that he's doing something awful, and that he's making a terrible mistake, and nothing I do is going to be good enough to get through, and that I will have failed. He's not even putting the onus on Destiny. He's saying, like, this is my responsibility. He's my friend.
But you know what that is? You know what that is? You know what that is? Textbook codependency. It is textbook codependency. And I talked to Max about this. I was like, this is a great effort. I know this is coming from a place of, like, love. You are hurting yourself. Like, you are. He is. I said this, like, you need to... you could have the purest intentions. Steven is not ready to hear this. He's not. And so you are yelling into a void, and you are hurting yourself and your relationship, and you need to let go a little bit, or release a little bit.
I just think that when the stakes are that high, it was impossible. Like, it's not even a choice at that point, you know? It's just like, you know, like, I have to. Like, it's like, how do you not stop somebody from walking in front of a bus? You have to like, jump in front of them and push them out of the way, even if you're going to get hit. It's like that kind of feeling.
Totally. And that's healthy.
It can be unhealthy
20% of the time.
Because sometimes you get hit by a fucking bus.
Yeah, like, it's you gotta put yourself first, especially if I think you're emotionally volatile, like I think Max can be. I don't think he is most of the time, but I think he can be. So I just think that I don't know. I think that Max needs to protect himself from the expectations that he holds Steven to, not from Steven. I don't think Steven is the evil person.
I get it.
I think that I just don't think that. Yeah, I think that Max should probably focus on friends that he feels whole and happy and understood around, and less focus on needing Steven to understand him.
I think it's super important that, or it's very unfortunate that the person who was the first person to really, like, make him feel validated in his art and do what they could to help him with his art in the most, like, organic and normal way that somebody could, is also somebody that he has to, like, work with.
Yeah.
That's, like, the tragedy of the situation, is because they're very different in that, but, like, at the same time, like, you're automatically going to be important. Like, I mean, unless you're, and, like, he's not in it just for the money, so, like, the shit actually matters. And it's lost on a lot of people, that, which is insane. That's why I don't that's why I don't agree with like anything that Stardust says about how their conversations go, or like what he means when he says testing, or any of that. Like, you know him. Like the never like has never used used a loaded term ever, and that's like that's the kind of shit that we see. It's baffling, and thank you for making me not feel like a crazy person when I watch. 'Cause people argue with me all the time when I say this shit, like hard, and like I'm still convinced that I'm right, but like it feels bad when nobody else gets it, because like that's why I'm fucking saying it. I'm trying to show you the thing that you're not seeing.
Yeah.
That's cool. You yeah, I think that I think that you're probably one of the very few people I would say is on par with me on the fandom, and like really watch, because like I think people watch it different. People watch these things differently. Like I always notice when eyes well up with tears, or the just the sads and the like all that shit. Like I don't know, like that shit's really apparent to me, and it seems like a lot of people fucking I don't know, brains off or something. I don't know how to not see that shit in anybody at any of the time, and it's like it's super obvious when it's happening on stream and people just fucking blank out. And do you run into that too? Like, is that a problem for you when you're interacting with other streamers and you're trying to be like emotionally sincere, and it gets like taken as some like weird goofy ass shit that like you're like, no, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? No, this is what I'm saying.
It's a problem constantly in my streaming life and my real life, is I'm in a perpetual state of people telling me it's not that deep, and I'm like, no, it is that deep. So yeah, I'm stuck here. The life of an empath, am I right?
So I think I'm extremely empathetic, but I think that if I called myself an empath, I would cringe so hard that I would taste my own asshole.
Yeah. I think that empathy is something that everyone can feel. I think that we're probably more tuned into it because of our upbringing, because we had to walk on eggshells. It's like a survival skill to be perceptive of other people's emotions, to feel them, and to all of it. I don't think that makes us like I don't know. Empath is a strange word, but I think that there are people who are more perceptive.
Yeah,
sure.
It seems like people when people talk about empathy in like the Twitch poll space, it seems like people always perceive it as somebody saying like, I have psychic abilities and I can just know things. Like, no, I can imagine how other people are feeling based on like their body language and how they're talking and the way their tones change, and it's pretty fucking clear to me what's happening, even if people don't want to admit it. Like, well, you're not mad. Well, okay, but you're talking exactly. The only time you ever behave this way is when you're mad. You don't wave your arms around. You don't raise your voice. You don't have this tone unless you're mad. Any other time, but I guess it's some weird phenomenological event where you perfectly mimic how you are when you're mad, but somehow you're not mad. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, like Steven today when he's like, I'm calm, after just like yelling at me for 40 minutes, I'm like, yeah, you're calm? Like...
I think
whatever.
It helps I think...
I hate him! I'm declaring war against Steven.
Well, but not the subreddit. You don't want that.
No. That's too much.
Do you think people got a little crazy over that? Because he was basically making a joke. Like, he's making a statement.
People are crazy. We're all emotionally invested in this. Everyone's fucking emotionally invested.
I'm emotionally invested in it, but like,
yeah, everyone sees it differently. Nobody is wrong. Nobody's right. We're all just trying to make sense of our feelings. What we need to do is sit in wise mind.
I guess I just think a lot
listen
of people
to each other.
Interact with their feelings about it. They just kind of react.
True. This is why I believe in re-education camps and eugenics.
Okay. And you raised your eyebrows at me for saying I don't have any black friends. Oh, one time in your chat I said I don't find black men attractive, and you said that's fucked up. And I was just like,
oh, did I?
Yeah, because I don't think you had any concept. I was like, I don't find any men attractive, though. But right, well, hey, I appreciate this. Unless there's anything you wanted to add, or if chat has any last minute questions, I will release you from your agreement to talk to me. It's I didn't know I was gonna go. Said a lot of people said a lot of things to me. I did genuinely reserve my opinions about you at all, because I haven't seen you really speak freely unless you were playing Overwatch, in which case I said I'm not going to contribute to that toxic behavior.
Yeah. Of course.
It's not very wise mind of you. So I think I have a good positive opinion of you. Even if I thought that I would have a positive opinion higher than I thought that I would, you're actually extremely easy to talk to, which is not the perception that I would have gotten, which is why I thought it was very, very important for me to like steal my mind. I think if you have a really negative opinion about Lav, consider the context at which she's speaking in. Consider how many people are fucking screaming at her, or just like the looming threat that somebody's going to yell at her if she says something wrong. Because I didn't consider that for a while, and I think that if I didn't make that decision to sort of like stop any thoughts that I had, I might have been this might have went a lot different on the hotline. And I was glad, like right afterwards, I like kind of just thought for a little bit and had to come to these conclusions. And if I didn't, I think that I would have missed out on a good conversation like that we had tonight. I appreciate you. I appreciate your perspectives on all the things that we talked about. I don't think that I haven't gotten any of this kind of feedback from anybody else that I talked to, and I think that it's uniquely valuable. So just thank you a bunch, and I know that my friends, like the one who's in here from another streamers community, they're gonna make subtle jabs at me. He called me a lav cell. Is that a fucking thing people say?
Yeah, lav cells. Those are my fans.
Jesus Christ, I hate it.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, you didn't pick it?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just thank you a lot. This has been it's a really good positive experience, and I know I kind of went off the rails a little bit instead of asking you like questions a little more in order, but it's just really nice to get somebody else's opinions that sees the fucking shit that I see. Nobody sees it like I do, so it's just nice to have.
We are both parasocially involved. We are both Max stands. Yeah. So.
I was going to say fucked in the head, but yeah, that sounds way better.
Oh, yeah, we're both extremely fucked. Yeah.
Max stance almost sounds like we're victims of it, so yeah, let's go with that one.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I love being a victim.
But
it was great.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, yeah, none of those are questions. Again, if you ever want to talk about sex work sometime, I'd be more than happy to have that conversation with you, but you can go to bed, get out of here, and I'll link all your shit when send me your link so when I put it up on YouTube I can put your stuff on there.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Thanks, Lav. Have
See
a great
ya.
night. Take care.
You too.
Bye. Yeah, I had from what I tried my best to not have any expectations about her. But I think I may have had some like inherent expectations for how the conversation might go. Thank you, the sandwich. Just because everything that I've ever seen Lav in has been like utterly chaotic. So I just thought that there would just be like a different kind of energy at least. But I did try to keep in mind too that like the whole gun to the head thing that I mentioned a bunch, but like she's not hard to talk to. I feel like if you're not trying to be combative, I think you can, then I think that you'll get a lot out of talking to Lav. That was one of the easiest, most free-flowing conversations that I've had. I really didn't have to look at my notes. The only time I looked down when I was just like, okay, I should probably get back on track here. She's so easy to talk to that I had to refer back to my notes in order to get me back onto the things that I knew I needed to talk about. That's the takeaway I had too. If you're aggressive, I think she matches the energy pretty consistently. Yeah, if you watch any of the videos that have been out recently, I bet you it'll feel a lot more like somebody who's just like fighting to keep their head above water, because that's an option that I kept in my mind the whole time. It's like, I wonder if it's just like that, but it's really hard to tell because there's just so much shit flying in every direction. You can't really tell who started being aggressive, who's not, and when if she misspeaks about anything, it's gonna come off like she's being fucking malicious and shit because the reaction that she's getting is so fucking visceral and violent that like you just can't fucking tell. which is why like I said when I was talking to Lav, that's why I hate all the content around the allegations that Stardust and Chaeiry made, because like nobody can really speak truthfully when it's like that. It's too much. I couldn't. I would very much have to pump the brakes and tell everybody to chill the fuck out. And I think that I'm going to do my very best to adopt that mindset moving forward when I see anybody having a conversation with those kinds of stakes in the future. And I really hope that anybody watching this does that too, because I don't think that there's anything more valuable that you can do when you're trying to figure out what's going on, is just to think about, like, what is the setting that this person is in while this conversation is happening, and how might that be affecting how they answer and their ability to answer with how they feel. I think that we're, as an audience, doing the person who's being grilled and ourselves a great disservice by not doing that. And I think that's I feel like I'm going to have to call people out who are doing that from now on, because, like... Thank you, Cam. I think that it's... we're fucking up. Like, in our effort to get the truth from people, we're making it damn near impossible for them to tell an unfiltered version of it. And I understand the need to get it and the need to hold people accountable, but, like, we have to chill the fuck out when we're trying to do it, and then we can examine things and then come back and say, hey, this doesn't line up or this doesn't match. Can you explain this? And then give them a chance again, and have a little bit of charity when we're doing it. Because if somebody misspeaks and they have to walk something back, or they have to change something, or they were wrong, we need to allow for that to be a possibility. Otherwise, we just don't get to know. Do we really care about getting the truth about something? Or do we care about making sure that people perform perfectly? That's the question that I think that we really need to ask. And right now, it seems like the focus on everybody who's interested in having these conversations is that, can we get this person to perform perfectly after whatever the intense thing that we want to talk to them about happened, and while we're fucking screaming at them and holding our fucking guns to their head, making sure that they are terrified of what they say, no matter what they say or how they say it. We're like forcing some kind of diplomacy on them, where we're saying, like, well, you need to tell me exactly what the fuck happened in a way that I want to fucking hear it. It's bad. It's really bad. And I'll agree with the people that talked to me, and some people were messaging me while Lav was on Destiny last. Like, she didn't sound great, but, like, Jesus fucking, who could? Like, as the conversation went, it did make her look really bad, but I would challenge anybody to let me scream at them about something that's important to them while they talk to me about it, and see if I can't catch them on anything. Because I bet you I fucking could. It's fucked. It's fucked up. And if you really like the people that are doing this, that's fine. We should be able to hold the people that we like and have respect for to a higher standard. When Mrgirl, in my opinion, stepped way out of line when talking about ADHD, I flipped the fuck out on him. I blew him up on Twitter, and I went on the hotline, and I fucking told him what I thought. That's what we have to do when people are acting in a way that we feel is irresponsible. And maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you think that this is how we should talk to people. No wonder she flip-flops so much. She's in defense mode as soon as she enters half of these conversations. Yeah, maybe you just feel like you have to say whatever the fuck they want you to say, so you fucking leave you alone. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. And maybe it's not so defensive to say, like, hey, I have anxiety or anything like that. Maybe you're letting them know, like, hey, this isn't good for me. What you're doing right now is bad for me. Not only do I feel like I have to come here and tell you what you want to know, because, like, the implications if I don't is super fucking bad for me, but, like, just the ability to try to keep your thoughts straight while somebody's yelling at you alone, even if you don't have anxiety. Like, any of the things that I've heard be used as an excuse for her seem completely legitimate, seeing how she communicates being in that situation, and then when I have talked to her. It is, it's insane to me that people draw such strong conclusions when only seeing it that way. Well, I guess, to be fair, although it seems insane to me now, this is just clarity that I've had over the last couple of days, realizing what it must be like that. When you're in a situation like that. Like you said, she's just trying to keep her head above water. Her focus isn't maintaining consistency, it's just defense half the time. When you give her the time to think things through without aggressive pressure, she came off pretty thoughtful. Yeah, and insightful. And like I said, like I would have really fucked myself if I would have not had this perspective before talking to her. And I think that if I gained it afterwards, I would feel like the biggest piece of shit if I had applied like pressure, even close to any of the way that other people have. No, I think that they're both accurate. She was thoughtful. She took her time to think about things, and she worked things out as she said it, which is good, and provided a lot of insight. Yeah, you weren't wrong, Cam. Fans need to be aware that they are permitted to empathize with the person they are a fan of. Okay. It's a lot harder to see your streamer as wrong when you empathize with their position and not the other person's. Yeah, and not only that, too, even if you think somebody's wrong, there's a ton of value in trying to understand how they came to that conclusion. Like how I do with Mrgirl and his trans takes. I always say that I think he's wrong, but for the right reasons. I think that if most people are honest, they would prefer somebody who's wrong like him, as opposed to somebody who's wrong who thinks that God decided it's wrong. So I don't even think it's wrong. I'm just defending my God's position. That's way worse. You can never move somebody off of that. I'm finishing his Bogardus talk now. That might have been one of my favorites. That whole thing is fucking fire, dude. Oh my god. Yeah, I think that I think this perspective just in general might help me even interpersonally, understanding that how I talk to people when I'm emotional might affect how they're able to communicate with me, and I need to be more mindful of that because this is very very eye-opening. And I hopefully anybody who watched what happened tonight and seen what's happened over the last few days can see that there is that what I'm saying has to be true, that there is a big difference at the very, very, very least, although I think it extends a lot further than that, in how Lav is able to communicate, depending on how people are treating her. But I think that this definitely extends to everybody.